The wait is over. Designs have been tested, code refined, strategies perfected. It's competition day. The bots are primed for action. The strategies are locked. The battle for excellence begins. This is First in Michigan, the brightest young minds, the fiercest competitors, pushing the limits of technology and teamwork. Who will adapt? Who will dominate? It all unfolds right now. We are at Grand Valley State University in Allendale, and we welcome you to First in Michigan Robotics. I'm Dan Gutowski along with Dan Kimura. Kaylee Marentet is the third member of our broadcast team. We'll join her in just a minute. Dan, let's get the overview of what kind of competition we're going to have here today.
Yeah, so this is our fourth week of events. We have 5 weeks of events and then the state championship. Top 160 teams from our district events will qualify for that. We've got 40 teams here today. We're just about done with our 80 qualification rounds. Once that's done, we'll have 1 through 8 pick some alliance partners. We'll have 8 alliances of 3 robots each, and they'll be competing in our elimination tournament.
Let's go downstairs right now and join Kaylee Marentet and get a preview of what she'll be telling us about today.
Hey guys, excited for another weekend here with First, this time at Grand Valley State University. Per usual, I will be down here next to the field talking with members of the blue and red alliances after each match, talking about what went right, what went wrong, what led to a win, what led to a loss. Also throughout the broadcast, you're going to get to listen in on some sit-down interviews with members from each team, judges, coaches, mentors. We have a great lineup for you today. We're going to send it back upstairs for now.
All right, Kaylee, thank you very much. Yes, we do have a very elaborate game. Of course, there are tweaks and changes from year to year. Let's give you the overview of rules and scoring for this year's game.
All right, the 2025 First Robotics Competition game is called Reefscape. Matches are going to be played 3 robots versus 3 robots, and a match is 2 minutes and 30 seconds long. The first 15 seconds of which is autonomous mode, which means the robots have to be pre-programmed to do all of their scoring. The main goals of this game are to take these giant 4-inch PVC pipes, we call them coral, and score them on the reef. There are also some balls or algae that they can use to score. In autonomous mode, they're going to start on a line. If they leave that line, they can get 3 points for that. They can also score on our big central structure here, our reef. It's 7 points for the top level, 6, 4, and 3 for the shelf on the very bottom. A lot of teams are going to score 1 coral and then go back for more. After autonomous mode, we start teleoperated mode or driver control. They're going to keep doing the same thing, but the points are a little bit lower now. So 2, 3, 4, and 5 points for each coral scored in teleoperated mode. You might also see some teams grab the algae. They can actually score it directly in the net, which is the high area in the center of the field, for 4 points. They can also pass it into a processor for 6 points, but that gives the ball to the other team, who can then score it in their net for 4, so it's only a net of 2 points that way. Towards the end of the match, teams are going to head over to their barge zone. If their robot is inside the red or blue tape, they'll get 2 points for parking. If they hang off of a high cage, it's 6 points, and if they hang off of the low cage, that's a little bit harder, so they get 12 points.
So that sets the stage for what is going to unfold here. Our first match is just about ready to go. We've got familiar names. Again, most of these schools, Dan, this weekend, here from the west side of the state of Michigan.
Yeah, got a few traveling. Hemlock, I think, is from the east side.
Okay.
That we'll see in a little bit. But yeah, most of the teams here from the west side.
I always like to test you on your Michigan geography.
Oh, no, I'm no good at Michigan geography.
That's okay. You covered yourself east side of the state. Okay, that's good.
I think it's up a little bit, like near Saginaw, right?
Okay.
Maybe not.
Well, I'm not. I don't want you to test me on my geography.
Oh, I see.
That's the way it goes. All right, so Zeeland West, Hart is our blue alliance. There we go. And the red alliance was Lightning Robotics. They're from the east side, Canton.
Yep.
Okay. And Astrobots and Strike Force. So, yes. Yeah, we're just waiting for the officials to give us a thumbs up, and we'll let these robots go to action.
Yep, so this is going to be our number 1 seed versus our number 8 seed. The number 1 seed, that Strike Force and Lightning Robotics, I think they've both won an event already this year. Strike Force World Championship winner. And Actually, in fact, 862 and 2767 played in our last qualification match together and put up a score of over 200 points. So they are definitely our favorites going into this tournament here.
Yeah, we've seen some very impressive performances in terms of early point production. We're going to have 15 seconds of autonomous. And again, that is the robots operating themselves, pre-programmed. Again, the object, get that PVC pipe. That's the coral. To get that up placed, and you get points for that. The higher you go, the more points you get.
Yep, keep an eye on the Red Alliance there. They put 3 each on the top row. We call that level 4 of the reef. Those are worth, in autonomous mode, 7 points apiece. Now in driver control, it's only worth 5. But still a huge lead for Red coming out of that autonomous period.
The Red Alliance, the 2767 machine on the top, now the left of your screen. That Strike Force machine, they are always in consideration for producing big numbers.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, most years there's an argument that can be made that they are the best team in Michigan, with a few other teams, but they are one of the powerhouses here.
And they are doing a lot of damage, almost a 30-point lead here. We're coming up with about 90 seconds left in this first match of the afternoon. Blue Alliance, again, working from behind, but still a pretty good start for them.
Yeah, 65-48 on Blue has been really good in some matches. I think they had maybe some mechanical difficulties earlier in the event, but when they're working, they can keep up scoring-wise.
Yeah, over a minute to go. We're not even close to getting into the barge zone for any hanging. We got almost 140 points.
Yeah,
for the
we
Red
can see
Alliance.
862 took a lot of those balls, the algae we call it, off of the reef, which is that big central structure, and they've been scoring them in the net in the middle of the field. Each ball they put up there is worth 4 points, so that's kind of equivalent to scoring on level 3, or the second highest level of the reef, and so those points are going to add up.
The Perry Rambots robot called Guppy, that's the one playing defense for the Blue Alliance, but boy, 156 points. That's pretty good. Now we got a machine stuck. That's the Strike Force machine.
And you can see there they were moving their elevator up and down, trying to get themselves free. 862 is going to try to help, and they want them free because 2767 can hang at the end in the barge zone. Nicely done.
And now we're going to move these robots probably into the barge zone. There's one machine already there for the Red Alliance. Well, 170 plus points. That is a message sent.
Yeah, this is going to be, I think, it's going to be really close to 200 here. We'll get 2 12-point hangs. And the question is, does the third robot get up for Red?
So identify, Dan, the difference between a 12-point hang and a 6-point hang, a shallow cage versus a deep cage.
Yeah, so we got a good shot here of all of the cages, and basically the length of the chain determines whether it's a shallow or a deep. So if the cage, that in this case blue, what we're seeing, or the red kind of pipe structure that's hanging from a chain here, if that's really down low, close to the carpet, it's only going to be a few inches above the carpet. That's going to be a deep climb. It's a little bit harder to grab something that's right down on the floor and still find a way to lift your robot up on that. So that's worth 12 points. We might not see much of it, but if that chain is about half the length, and the cage is hanging up in the air noticeably, hanging on that's a little bit easier because you just got to reach up and kind of do a pull-up with your robot. That would only be worth 6 points. But a couple of 12-point hangs for Red. I think we've got one for Blue. And then, of course, if you just park in the zone, if you're on the ground, but any part of your bumpers are over the tape line, you get 2 points for that.
In the Blue Alliance, unofficially 113 points. That's pretty good. You're not upset about that too much?
Yeah, well, they're going to be a little upset because I think they're going to lose this match. But when you add the endgame points onto that, too, that's going to be really close, 130, maybe into the 130s, which we know from last week was a solid score, but not a winning score. I think we saw some 150s, 160s last week, a bunch of scores in the 140s. And I expect those numbers to have to be higher here. We should see some teams, especially our #1 alliance, flirting with like 200 points.
So they're introducing the scores in the arena. That is a Red Alliance win of 193 points.
Yeah,
I don't remember getting to 200 ever.
So I think the high score of this event is 202, which was in the last qualification match of the tournament. So this is the biggest score so far. Of course, our first score of our elimination tournament, but it's a big one.
Kaylee Maritet standing by with the winners from the Red Alliance.
Hey guys, I'm here with Tyler, part of the Red Alliance, also part of Strike Force. I wanted to ask you, your guys' bot got stuck on that algae there for a minute, but you got free. What was the strategy for that, or how'd you do that?
Yeah, my goal there was to just kind of tap the algae, get it out of the way, but I accidentally kind of fouled through a bit too much, and that it just got under the bumper. It kind of squished, got under the bumper, and then luckily A62 was there to push us off.
What is your guys' strategy for the next game, or is there anything else you guys want to work on going into the next match?
Yeah, we're probably going to keep pretty much the same strategy, but we know our third robot, they had a belt fall off, and that's why we had to send them to play defense. So next match, we're probably going to try and go again triple offense, but if something like that happens again, we'll send a robot defense. Just play it by ear, kind of, but hopefully similar to that.
All right, congratulations on that win, Tyler. Dan and Dan, we're going to send it back upstairs.
Thank you, Kaylee. Congrats to the Red Alliance. Boy, that is something to build off of.
Yeah, yep. And I think that alliance is going to be sort of targeting that 200-point threshold in a lot of these matches.
And we'll also hear from the Blue Alliance. Again, a good outing, but not quite enough to take a win. Back downstairs we go to Kaylee.
Hey guys, Bryce is here with me from the Blue Alliance. Bryce, what happened in that game? What do you want to change?
Yeah, so we knew already going into this match the one-seed alliance is very powerful. We knew that we had to score really high and possibly shut down some defense. So we went in with that strategy that we needed to put majority of our alliance on offense at first, and then once we knew that we couldn't compete with scoring power of Alliance 1s, we put one of our defense bots over on the other side of Alliance to try and mess things up. But I think it went down to they scored more coral than us, and we couldn't keep up.
All right, well, good luck going into the next match.
Thank you.
Back upstairs.
Kaylee, thank you. Yeah, that's a good start. Let's go back to auto mode, autonomous, with the robots doing some good things early.
Yeah, and we heard him saying they couldn't keep up in scoring, but actually, the biggest difference here was auto mode. So we see Blue missing one up high. We do see the reload and a miss there, and 85 not able to grab a second one. And that's what we're looking for, is those auto mode points were the big difference. If you actually just look at the number of coral scored in that match, I mean, Red scored more, but they only scored like 2 more coral pieces. They just did a better job of scoring them higher. And remember, in auto mode, scoring on the top rows were 7 points instead of 5. So it's a pretty big difference. And here we see both 2767 and 862 getting 3 up top.
Yeah, boy, that is a gangbuster start for the Red Alliance. I don't know, what could they have done better? Nothing.
Yeah, not a whole lot. 2767 has been pretty automatic on that auto mode, getting 3 of 3 most matches. 862, I have seen them miss a few in some other matches, so that was good execution by them. They're going to have to keep that up, though. There are some other alliances here who are going to push their scores.
And that could happen as soon as this one here coming. Now we have our Blue Alliance, Saugatuck Central, and Corunna for the Blue Alliance. And Red Alliance Homeschool Code Blue, Hemlock, and Cavalry Schools of Holland. Preview thoughts on this upcoming match.
This is a very interesting match. So Hemlock's Gray Matter 57-12. And the Comets 33-52 are 2 traditionally very strong teams in the state of Michigan. They both had rough first events, so they both need this win to qualify for states, or some of the wins in the lower bracket afterwards.
All right, we'll see what happens in autonomous. Red Alliance with a small bump.
It's good. So 57-12. Looks like they got 2 there. Not quite enough time for the third one, and they do have the lead.
So Red Alliance with a pretty good start. And now we're off into teleop period, where the machines are operated by the students. Red Alliance 57-12 going for that. The high scores with Coral, Hemlock's Gray Matter, their robot Apollo.
Something seems to be up with 34-58. They spent some time against the side of the field. Now it looks like they have control of the robot again, and they're back to scoring. But both alliances here choosing to go 3 robots on offense, no defender.
Yeah, there's been a lot of offense, not a ton of defense so far. And again, the Red Alliance 57-12 working that high part of the reef zone. Yeah, this 5610 robot for the Blue Alliance doesn't look 100%.
That's just the way scissor lifts look, unfortunately. So the scissor lift is, 3357, by the way, stuck on a ball. We're able to free themselves. The scissor lift mechanism is used a lot, like in high-lows and stuff like that. You'll see it. Cherry pickers, things like that, where you need to get really tall in a really tight area. But one of the things is if you don't build it very, very heavy, and we have a weight limit in FIRST Robotics, you end up getting some of that side-to-side motion.
Wobble.
Yeah, so that's why you'll see most of the robots here are using what we call in FRC an elevator mechanism. So it'll be nested stuff, sort of telescoping stuff. You get a little bit more support and rigidity that way. Typically, you get more speed, but the scissor lift mechanism does also work.
So we got a very close contest here. 30 seconds left. These machines are going to head for the barge zone soon and try to get some points by hanging. And the hang points may be very meaningful here.
Yeah, very close. Both sides. The Reefs look about the same. One more high score for red. That's going to give them a little bit of a lead. We do see on the blue side, there's still some of those balls, those kickballs, we call it algae, on their reef, and that's slowing down their ability to score the higher value points. That's blocking some of the level 3 or second from the top.
Red Alliance only gets one robot into that barge zone. Blue Alliance pushing to get multiple robots in there. They got 2.
Yep, and I think red actually will get credit for 2 robots in. You just need a tiny bit of your bumper over the line. But both of their robots on their ground, so that's going to only be 2 points apiece, or 4 points. Blue's got 2 robots hanging. I believe those are both deep cages, so that's going to be 24 points for blue. So a match that was neck and neck, maybe slightly in red's favor, might have flipped around here in the end game.
So we have a very close contest here. And every point is going to make a difference here. We're a little... Can you see with the Red Alliance score on
at
the board?
At the end of the match on the scoreboard, red was up by 12 points.
Okay.
They scored 24 points in endgame red scored 4 points in the endgame to blue's 24, which means a 20-point swing, which would change the outcome. Now, we have to point out again, this year, last year we had automated scoring, so the score was going to be updated. It was going to be very accurate. This year, there are actually humans at some touchpads around the screen, at some tablets, and they're checking off when things are scored. They're going to still get the score right at the end of the day, but they do a double check at the end of the match. Sometimes the score can get behind if a bunch of points are scored at the same time. So we have seen bigger swings from our presumed scoreboard to the final score.
Yes, we don't want to jump the gun and present inaccurate scoring, but the blue team is going to win. So we know that's what's going to happen, and the crowd is just getting filled in on that. And they win by a slim margin of just 6 points.
Yep. And that means we had 134 on the scoreboard. That means they got an extra 2 points somewhere. The Red Alliance did. And blue went down a couple points, I think. So it made it very, very close. Only 6 points. So you're no penalties in that match, though, so no penalty points for either side.
Well, a very close match. Every point counts. Let's go downstairs and hear from the Blue Alliance. Here's Kaylee.
I'm here with Jason from the Blue Alliance. Jason, very neck and neck the entire time. You guys were actually down until those final points were tallied. How did you feel seeing that score up on the screen?
It was a little too close for comfort, but I feel like if we tune in our autonomous and just keep scoring points, I think we'll make it through to the end.
I thought it was interesting, too. I'm going to ask the Red Alliance the same thing. No defense. What was the strategy with that? What was the idea behind that?
So defense isn't really a big option this game. Scoring is the best thing we can do for now, because if we have one spot playing defense, that's one less spot scoring, and points are a definite need this time.
As you just saw, they're only a 6-point win. Well, good luck in the next round, Dans.
Thanks, Kaylee. Well, good strategy, and the push at the end is what makes the difference for them.
Yeah, as we get later into the season, those deep barge climb points at the end are going to become more and more important. And that's one strength of our #1 seed. Their third robot on that alliance can also hang for more points there. So that gives them a little bit of an advantage over everybody else.
Yeah, and I'm impressed too. You know, to see. We'll go back to that. Kaylee's got a Red Alliance participant downstairs right now.
Here with a member from the Red Alliance. You guys were up until those final points were scored. What was your guys' strategy in this game that worked for you?
Right. Well, we knew that we can't score high. We have a very low-scoring robot, so we needed to cycle as many cycles as we possibly could before the other team pulls ahead with their climb. We knew they had a climb. We knew we couldn't climb. So our goal was to out-cycle them before the climb. Unfortunately, we had some collisions. We weren't able to cycle as many times as we would have hoped to. So instead, they pulled ahead in the end game, right? So in the future, we're going to try to improve that. We're going to try to improve our cycle time and communication between the drive coaches on the field.
All right, well, good luck in the next round. We're going to send it back upstairs to you guys.
Thank you very much. And let's get to our scoreboard. Blue Alliance, that 20-point swing in the barge is the difference.
Yeah, I mean, that's, we see some algae points here. 6 for red, 4 for blue. That means they put one ball into the processor. And then what happens, of course, is if you put the ball in the processor, which is a hole in the side of the field, you get 6 points for that. But the other team's human player then gets the ball. They can throw it in the net for 4 points. So it would be interesting to see, and we saw that a little bit with the #1 alliance, but more teams just going straight to the net with those coral. We've seen the top row on our reef, that level 4 row, has been filled in both of our matches so far for both alliances. So everybody's going to score all of those points.
Let's roll to our third match as we check out the machines that will be competing. This is the Blue Alliance, Walkerville, Holland Christian, and Allendale, all from the west side of the state of Michigan. That's the Blue Alliance. Red Alliance looks like Matawan, Hopkins, and Greenville Senior. The Tech Vikes from Hopkins. Impressions of these two alliances?
Matawan, the Wirecats, have been a pretty strong team for a little while here. Tech Vikes, also one of the oldest teams in the state, and they have been around the block. I think they have a state championship. Their robot, I've been watching this weekend. Their robot, when it's on, is one of the best robots that I've seen. But they've got some issues. They had some matches where things have just not quite clicked right.
What is this screen about right here?
That is our in-house video switcher. So we will be displaying stuff to the screen when we're not at the event doing our broadcast. This will also be handling the webcast going out. So you can see they also have the, I guess what we call the field monitor display. And so they can actually see when robots are connected or not connected from the field there as well. So you just got a little bit of everything on that screen.
And away we go here, our third match. Autonomous, good start, Red Alliance.
Yep,
getting points right away.
Let's keep an eye on them. They are capable of 3, almost 4. Looks like they're going to get 2 here. They missed the first one and failed to reload for that 4th one. But Red's still going to have the advantage. This Blue Alliance, their auto mode is one of their weaknesses. They are only capable of kind of scoring 3. And we do see 1 already on the ground there. 9742 is going to be playing defense. They just crossed the field. They have to be very careful, though. Contacting a robot when they're inside that tape around the reef
and
is a penalty.
Something has come off of one of the machines and is on the playing field. Looks like a plastic.
Might be a penalty for that. That is from 9742. There are a couple of plastic sheets that they have covering the front and the back of that robot to keep game pieces out. And one of those just came off. It's Velcroed on, essentially. And the big hit that they had when they were crossing the field was enough to jar it loose.
Not a huge impediment either way, but Red Alliance still pretty much doubling up on the scoreboard. We can see the algae going into the net. A strategy not always emphasized or utilized, but both teams have some algae points.
Yep, 2054 really has that ability for the Red Alliance. And we see Blue is going to be the first alliance where they may not be able to quite finish the top row. So 4003 working alone on that top level of the reef. 107 is working on the 2nd and 3rd levels, it looks like.
And there's a machine out of commission.
Yeah, we've seen it. I mean, we saw it last week.
Yeah.
I think it was 8:30 got stuck on a ball last week.
That's that's the Robo Jackets.
Yep, 72-10 here. And we saw 27-67 briefly stuck on a ball. These things are just, the outside of these balls are just the right amount of sticky and just the right size and right amount of squish that when you drive straight into them, it lifts your bumper up and you kind of climb on top. So you have to be very careful.
139 plus points now. They're in good position, but boy, anytime you lose a robot, things can get a little bit dicey.
Yep, looking okay here. We see another penalty getting called. And that would be on 4003. 4003 crossed the field. You're only allowed one defensive robot on the other side of the field. 4003 looking to try to hang, went all the way over the line, putting two robots in the defensive zone. I think that's going to be we have a big foul and a small foul, minor foul and major foul. I think that's going to be a major foul for 6 points.
Both teams getting some points hanging in the barge zone. Exactly how many, of course, we'll have to wait and see.
Yep, pretty big lead for Red going into the end game. I think Red's going to end up with a pretty big score, despite the fact that they missed out on maybe both of their climbs. I didn't see if either of those robots was up at the end of the match. They're both down on the carpet now. Again, the field is scored 3 seconds after the buzzer. So match ends, you have to hold your position for 3 seconds, and then you'll get credit for the points.
Let's jump into autonomous mode. Little look back and see where things all started for the Blue Alliance.
Yep, 107, their trough shot bounced out. Typically scoring on the lowest level, not worth that many points. It is worth more in auto mode, so it is worth going for it. And we see 4003 scores one, but unable to reload and get back for a second attempt.
And then Red Alliance takes off here and does some good things early.
Yeah, 2054, you can see that one not seated right. So the human player didn't get that one quite lined up. You can see those coming in violently. Their human player kind of chucks it into the robot to get it to feed in nicely. So a little bit of skill required there. But that is why they missed their second attempt. I think they got 2 out of 3 there. And the Wildcats, 56-75 on the other side, I think also adding.
Well, pretty good alliance. Good job by both alliances. I mean, we've seen, everybody's over 110-ish points and, seems to be in a good, productive zone right now.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty solid score. We'll have to wait and see if anybody was up in the air. Looks like a lot of unentangling happening now. So the Blue Alliance score will go up a little bit, but they did not. I think they're the first alliance to not finish the top level of the Reef, and it's going to be hard to win matches without taking advantage of all of those 5-pointers.
They're letting us know in the arena that the Red Alliance wins 177-111. Let's hear first from the Blue Alliance with Kaylee.
Izzy is with me here again from the Blue Alliance. Not the outcome you were hoping for. What are you guys going to go back and change heading into the next match?
We're probably just going to change how we line up. We weren't perfectly squared up with the center of the reef. So as we kind of came in, we were kind of tilted and we weren't flush up against that boundary right there. So it kind of bounced out and we couldn't get the coral into the level 1.
I did notice that right before the match started, I saw you kind of leaning, and it seemed like you didn't have really a good view because you have to stay within that tape line. Was that sort of a problem for you, or is everything okay from the field view?
No, everything was fine from the field view. I was just trying to see which one was shallow. That way I can go underneath and I don't have to worry about the deep cages. Because hitting the deep cages actually breaks our robot a little every time. So I was seeing which one was the shallow cage.
All right, thanks, Izzy. Good luck going into the next round, all right? Dan, we're going to send it back to you for now.
Thank you, Kaylee. And Izzy, at 177.
Yeah,
Oh,
big score, big score.
Here we go.
Yep.
And let's break down all the scores. They have been officially tallied. And we roll into the scoreboard. Penalty points, yes. But barge points for the Red Alliance helping, but it was the coral and a few algae points that kind of made the
Yeah,
difference.
just 8 penalty points. So yeah, that it helps, but it's not a massive change. But yeah, we did see the 2 robots were up and they were hanging 56-75 and 20-54. I saw it a little bit late when they had already come back down, but those 24 points are going to be big moving forward. And 177 is a scary score.
All right, the Red Alliance, 177 points. Good stuff. Here's Kaylee.
Ava is here with me from the Red Alliance. Ava, what was your guys' goal going into that match, and do you feel like you achieved what you wanted to?
Yeah, one of our major goals was to just stay consistent and really lay the foundations for our alliance. That was one of the biggest goals.
Is there anything you guys want to maybe change going into the next round?
The biggest thing that we're probably going to change is whether or not we're going to play defense on another alliance, because we know as we get higher and higher up that we're going to need more of that defense.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on that win and good luck to you. Dan?
All right, Kaylee, thanks.
Just a little bit of looking forward here. That 177 points was less, of course, than our number 1 alliance scored. They had that, I think, 193. But when we look at how many coral they actually scored, it was exactly the same and in exactly the same location. So it was an auto mode difference. That's the only thing holding them back from matching our highest score here.
Next up, 4th match, Red Alliance, Kalamazoo Central, Hamilton, and Grand Haven, the Buccaneers. And then our Blue Alliance looks like this: Holland, Team Chaos, West Ottawa, and Coloma.
Another couple strong alliances here.
And away we go in 2 autonomous. Red Alliance. It's been good performances so far for the first 2 Red Alliances. There's a coral miss, another coral miss. So not super good.
6002 hit 1 and then missed 2.
Yeah.
3546 hit 1 and then missed 2, I think.
Well, we got some mishandled coral on both sides. Blue Alliance with a drop there from the 141 machine. That's the Wobots.
6002 looks like they're going to try for, and 3546 are going to try for algae. Only 3546 was able to drop it, though. And we got another robot stuck, 74, briefly stuck up on one of those balls.
And again, when you hear Dan and I talk about coral, we're talking about the PVC pipe that is being placed into the reef zone. The higher it goes, the more points you get.
Yep, and on red, 6114 looking to play defense, and they're being very aggressive. They're chasing both sides of the field.
We got the Robotarians trying to play some defense. Both teams using one of their machines to defend. And that is keeping the scores down a little bit lower than expected.
Yeah. So a little bit because they're denying points and a little bit because they could be scoring points.
And the 2959 machine aggressively defending.
Yep, but on the other side, 6114 just knocked a coral piece out of 74's robot.
Yeah,
so 74 had to go back and reload.
These scores are going to be down due to the defensive strategy taken on by both teams.
Yep. On the red side, though, we do see they're just 1 coral away from completing the highest level, level 4.
Yeah, we got Robotics working very quickly for the Red Alliance, and they're going to just take another.
Yep, that's it. So they have now completed the top level. We'll see on blue, though, about half the top level uncovered right now.
Well, they are way behind and losing time. And there's a an algae score for the Red Alliance, placing it in the net. That's a 4-point get every time. You can see there's 3 balls on the top there, and we are going to have a couple of blue robots and a couple of red robots in the barge zone. But
yeah, looks like 2 red robots are up. I think only 1 blue. I think 74 is touching the ground still. And then both of the third robots, 2959 and 3546, coming in just for those 2 park points at the very end.
Well, you got 53 points. You got work to do.
Yeah. You know what? That match, I was watching 6114 for a lot of that match just because it seemed like they were finding ways to really slow down the scoring of the Blue Alliance. They managed to hit 74 a couple times when 74 was trying to load, receive the coral. That knocked them offline, so the coral fell on the floor. They had to reline up and try again. They also hit them as they were crossing the field trying to get back to the reef and knocked a coral out of their robots. So 74, I don't know if they have anything they can do to try to secure that coral a little bit better. But it's just really scary. You can only play defense until the robot gets to that tape line on the floor. And then if you hit them, that's a penalty. So a great job by the Hamilton Cyberhawks here. Finding that zone to play defense.
We'll get the final tally in just a moment, but we know it's a Red Alliance win. We didn't have to take long to figure that out.
Yeah.
And so we'll see how the numbers break down, but we'll first get down to Kaylee Marentet, who tells us how this played out for the Red Alliance.
Isaac is here. I'm going to start with the Blue Alliance first. What do you think needs to change going into the next round?
I think we had a couple issues. Robotarians, their lift went down at the start of the match. That definitely hindered us a bit. And in the middle of the match, we also had an issue with our lift, which we haven't exactly diagnosed yet, but that's something we're definitely going to have to look into and figure out before next match.
Okay, outside of the matches, I have to ask about the hair. What's the story behind the hair?
So it's just kind of a tradition our team's been doing for a long time. We've been around for a while, so we've got like these small things. The hair's one of them. We started doing this, I think, about 6 years ago. And it's just kind of, I don't know, it's fun. It makes us stand out, always easy to spot people, so yeah.
It definitely makes you guys stand out. Well, good luck going into the next round.
Thank you.
Dan and Dan, we're going to send it back upstairs for now.
Kaylee, thank you. Always nice to see what's new on the cutting edge of hair fashion.
Yeah.
Let's go to our scoreboard and break down the numbers as to how this went the way it went. 80-point win. We don't see that too much.
Yeah, and it sounds like, issues with 2959 and 79's robot that match. 2959 is a pretty good scoring robot, so to see them on defense, it could have been a strategic choice, but it looks like it was in part related to some robot issues. 100 coral points, though, great from our Red Alliance again. Just kind of looking at total number of coral scored. They're like 2 or 3 behind what our top alliances have done so far. And they did add those extra algae points. They scored 3 of those in the net. So that's kind of like the 3 coral that they didn't score.
James from the Red Alliance is standing by with Kaylee.
James, something obviously went right with that last match to get you guys to that score. What was it?
So we really focused on the L4 scoring when we cleared the algae. We know algae at this level of play is really important to put in the barge, and we'll decide the match this year.
Is there anything you guys are planning to change or alter going into the next round?
Yeah, so some of our barge scoring algae missed, so we're looking to improve that, but overall we're very happy with the play. A lot of heads-up play from 6002 and ourselves, great defense from 6114. We had the defense bot come over, and we're happy we had some time to practice and go over to the other station, the practice loading.
All right, congratulations on that win, James. Dan and Dan?
Kaylee, thank you.
Yeah, and so what's interesting is 147 points in their win. It's a little less than the 193 or the 177 we saw in previous matches, but they're playing 2 on offense, 1 on defense. So that is room where they could either score more, or we could expect those other scores to come down when faced with that defense.
Yeah, strategically it's kind of nice to test your defense, see how effective it is, and then later on when you're getting down to the nitty-gritty, can you go to that? How effective is it? Philosophically,
Yep.
it's a good thing to find out early.
Yeah, and we see this a lot in these tournaments. Sometimes you're going to send a robot to play defense because that's really all they can do. They're not going to add many points scoring. But we have a lot of robots here that could score or play defense, and so they have to make the choice, and they have to watch in the match, did you prevent more points than you could have scored? And so like you were saying, getting that done in your first attempt, your first match out, means kind of where that balance lies. So as you move forward, you can kind of make better choices of whether to send that robot to defense or not.
But it also tips your hand to the other team to know, that's what you can do. All right, Here we go. Red Alliance, Blue Alliance. As we are rolling into our 5th match of the day.
Yep, so this is going to be a lower match. This is round 2 now. We're going to have Alliance 8 versus Alliance 4 playing here.
We are out of autonomous and into teleop.
Pretty good.
Even scores through the first 30 seconds.
Yep, this Alliance 8 put up 129 in their first match. Alliance 4 put up 140, so two pretty evenly balanced alliances here going at it.
Working that high area in the reef zone to get maximum points for Coral. Again, you go high for that fourth branch, that's 7 points.
5 points. 7 points in auto mode and then down to 5 in driver control.
Yeah. Right.
Yep. And it looks like, but I mean, still, that's the most points you can get anytime in the match. Next row down is 4 points scoring in the net. The algae, the balls in the net is also worth 4 points.
Comfortable 20-point lead for the Red Alliance.
So you have to keep an eye on it, though. Blue has more high-scoring opportunities left. Red's got one more spot up high for that level 4 Coral for 5 points. Blue's got 4 more spots as they take one of them just there.
And Red Alliance breaks the century mark at 100 with a minute left to go here. And again, we have seen it's pretty much all offense, green light, go for both teams. Defense not present right now.
Yep, and I believe both these alliances did that in their first match as well. You see a little bit, closing the ground a little bit is Blue as they get their last one up high.
And the Blue Alliance has one robot already in the barge zone to try and climb and hang and get some points.
Yeah, we'll see. It looks like they are going to go up, but they're now hanging with 20 seconds left on the clock. So in a perfect world, they should have scored 1 or 2 more times before going.
And that machine turns sideways. I don't think that matters, though, in the grand scheme of things.
As long as it's not touching the ground.
Right. It's got to be off the playing field. And you can see the 2 Red Alliance machines. One is airborne. That's the built-on brains machine, the Bob robot from Zeeland East and Zeeland West High School.
Yeah, it looks like Blue was going to need at least one more climb there, but it looks like 59.27 is not off the ground. So I think they'll get credit for the one climb, and we still see 34.58 despite tipping over sideways like that. They're still kind of, we can see them wobbling back and forth, which means they're not, supported on the ground.
Besides the fact that it's not aesthetically pleasing, you don't want to flip your machine because you could do some damage. I mean,
unless it's designed that way. Some robots will be designed to sort of like fold themselves up, and we'll see the bottom. But we saw them go up straight and then tip over. So we know that was not ideal. You do have to be careful too. Like looking at this cage, if you're touching the chain or the top surface of the cage, that would actually negate the climb. You're not allowed to touch those pieces of it. So when the robot tips over like that, you can't quite see from this angle, but if that chain is hitting anything else inside the robot that it was not supposed to be near, they could lose their climb for that.
Gotcha. Well, pretty good scores. We're going to let you know that it is a Red Alliance win. Numbers to come, 159 to 158 to 140. And we'll break them down in just a moment, but both teams hovering around 150. That's pretty good. Tough go for the Blue Alliance, though, to lose.
Yep, and this was an elimination match. So our 4th seed Alliance has been eliminated by the number 8 seed, so a bit of an upset. But I think a lot of people looking at sort of the pick, the draft, getting 65-48 in the 8th seed is sort of exactly the kind of pick you want to make. They're a robot that, when it's working, can put up a huge number of points, but had some maybe mechanical issues leading up to the elimination round. So when you're a high seed, you want to pick consistency because you know what you're going to get. You should be able to score the most. When you're a low seed, you kind of go to the bigger variation if they're capable of putting up a big score.
Here's the scoreboard that tells everything. Only a slight difference in the Coral scoring. Barge points almost even. No penalties, no algae points. So this is a pretty straightforward match.
Yeah, the 6 to 9 in leave is not something you want to see. Leave, again, is if you just drive forward off the starting line, you get 3 points. So to have a robot that either drove forward and then went back or didn't make it to move forward at all, It's just kind of like 3 points that you don't want to leave on the table. But more or less just an edge in the Coral scoring. We saw a little bit of an edge there in autonomous mode, and then they were able to just stay a couple of Coral ahead.
Kaylee Marintet talking with the Red Alliance downstairs. Kaylee?
I'm here with Bryce from the Red Alliance. You guys are moving forward. Is there anything that you guys learned from this match that you want to take into the next one?
Yeah, so we learned that we have to fill the rungs as much as possible. We want to start with the highest scoring level there is. That's L4, then work our way down to L3 and L2 and L1. We had great alliance partners that match. We both hit our autos. Hopefully going into the next match, we want to make sure we tune our autos, make sure that we're hitting it, so we can go to Teleop with as many points as possible.
Wanted to ask you, too, I know this is a tradition, the Twizzler in your pocket. What's the story?
Yeah, so way back before my time, our team always listened to Beach Boys and had Twizzlers on the way to competition. And that was just kind of our theme. We charge them up before the match, and we're not superstitious, we're just a little stitious is what we like to say. So we like to charge them up, and if we lose the match, we eat them, and if we win the match, we keep them. So the goal is to never eat this Twizzler right here. This Twizzler's going to go to Einstein is the goal.
All right, I like that. All right, thanks, Bryce. Congratulations.
Yes.
We're going to go back upstairs.
That's a good line. Let's recap that. We're not a little superstitious. We're just, what did he say? I'm sorry.
We're not superstitious. We're just a little.
Little-stitious. Okay, good job. I like that.
Einstein, of course, he mentioned, is the sort of World Championship Finals. That'll be the last match of the entire tournament.
Okay. Very good. And did he say how long that tradition's been in place? Do you know?
I don't think he mentioned. I'm trying to think back when the last time I saw them with those was. But Team 85 is one of the oldest teams in the state. Again, lower number typically will indicate that it is a older team. Teams are given, basically they started at 0, and every year they go to the end of the team numbers and add more. So lower number, they were around longer. There was some shakeups. I think 2000 was the first year where that rule came into effect. Before 2000, you got a new team number every year, and you were listed alphabetically by your sponsor's name.
You know, do they have to, can they use the same Twizzler, or do they just find a Twizzler? Because you got to think, if that's candy's been out there for that long.
Yeah.
Ooh, you don't want to take a chance.
It's kind of like, maybe that's why it works, right? Because they don't want to eat the Twizzler when they lose.
Right.
And the more they win, the longer the Twizzler's been out collecting dirt, the more they don't want to eat it, the more they want to win.
You know, Kaylee's got a very good investigative journalistic background. Maybe we could get her to take a bite on that Twizzler at some point. Oh, she's a...
That's a no for me. I'm sorry,
yeah, I know.
I mean, you can come down here and...
No. We'll let that one go.
I'm going to pass, too. Maybe it's states.
Well, we don't want to disrupt their mojo and their routine, so we'll just
otherwise, we would totally all eat it, right?
Right. All right, good stuff. Always good to get candy humor in the robotics discussion here. Okay, so we're rolling into our next bracket. I think we're on match 6. Match 6 is coming.
Yep, so we got 1 versus 5, 2 versus 3 still in the upper bracket. Again, this is a double elimination tournament. You have to lose twice to be eliminated. So Alliance 8 and Alliance 4 lost their first round match, dropped down to the lower bracket. 8 wins and moves on. 4 has been eliminated. Next up is 7 versus 6. Again, another elimination match.
All right. And here come our teams. And this is the Blue Alliance this time around. Holland, Team Chaos, West Ottawa, and the Colombo Robotarians. And then Red Alliance is Walkerville, Holland Christian, and Allendale.
Yep, so Alliance 6 put up 67 points only in their first round loss. Alliance 7 with 111. But we do know there were robot issues associated with that 67-point score, so it's kind of hard to draw conclusions.
Gotcha. So again, we've seen a lot of good scores so far. A lot of scores hovering around 150 and north of that, so...
And that's, we saw those scores would have been maybe enough to win last week at Jackson. Not going to be enough this week. It's going to have to be closer to 160, 170 instead of those 140, 150s. All right, so we want to keep an eye in this match on blue. 2959 was the robot that was having a lot of issues in the last match with their I think he said their elevator, with their lift. So if they come out strong here in auto mode and score, that's going to be a good sign for them moving forward. And we heard from, I think, 9742 talking about they missed their auto mode shot last time. They're paying extra attention this time to make sure it's lined up nicely. So we'll see if they can also drop that one in. This is a second-year team here. So a very young team, and they were the captain of this alliance. They seeded 7th and got to choose their partners.
Thumbs up have been given. We got green light go for all the robots, and we'll hit autonomous for 15 seconds starting right now.
All right, 2959, that looks good. So good sign for Blue Alliance moving forward.
And a mishandle there by the 4003 Trisonics robot for the Red Alliance. That robot name is Neptune.
Yeah, and they got another shot at it, but something is off. They were crashing into stuff, and they should not have been doing that during auto mode. It should have stopped a little bit sooner.
Yeah, they're going to disregard that one piece of coral completely, and now move into Teleop.
9742 again crossing the field, looking to find a good, safe place to play defense. You can see they did take a lot of care as they crossed the field to make sure there were no penalties involved. And they're doing a decent job there on 74. Forced them to take a second attempt to get lined up for the load.
So one defensive robot for the Red Alliance. That's the Walkerville Wildcats.
Yeah, Blue kept 2959 on offense thus far.
And that robot right in the middle of your screen is the Robotarians. You see the Blue Alliance trying to pile up points, and so far they've been doing a better job of it than the Red Alliance.
And on the blue side of the field, we do see around the 9742 robot, the same panel looks like it fell off. Looks like there's even another piece of plastic on the ground. But a good job there. They defended 74. 74 only had one path, got stuck on a ball on the way out.
Yeah, they got away from it, but Team Chaos was in trouble there for a second.
I do think there was one penalty on red already, so that's helping Blue out a little bit. But Blue almost done with their top level. 141 gave up, though, and kind of spit it down on the ground.
Well, this will be one of our lower scoring matches for sure. Looks like Blue Alliance set to go over 100, but Red Alliance not so much.
Yeah, and Red Alliance did do 111 in their last match, so they should be able to score a little bit more than this, but only 20 seconds left in the match. They're going to have a lot of empty spots at the level 4 of their reef.
Another mishandle by the Trisonics robot for that piece of coral. That's been a rather significant challenge for them. And now we got the Blue Alliance robots moving into the barge zone to hang. We got one off the ground. That's the 141 robot from Holland.
Yep, and for red, 4003 looks like they couldn't quite grab that cage, so they are not up. They were up, I think, in the last match. They needed that this time, though. And again, presumed blue advantage on the scoreboard, and in endgame, blue's looking at 14 points, red only looking at 4.
Yeah, the score is coming back to earth a little bit for this 6th match of the day.
Yeah, these were our low-scoring teams in that their first round match, too.
We didn't think they were going to take off and explode all of a sudden. So,
but if you do look at the blue reef, it is pretty full. So I think they rebounded quite nicely. I mean, they only put up 67 points in their first match, again, with some robot damage. Robots seem like they are working better this match.
So we'll get the announcement in the arena here at the GVSU Fieldhouse Arena. And we find out it is a Blue Alliance win. Not a shock. 126-83. It's about a combined 200 points. And let's go downstairs and join Kaylee with the winning Blue Alliance.
Isaac is here with me from the Blue Alliance. Isaac, very different outcome and very different score than last match. What changed?
A lot, actually. Robotarians did a great job in between that very short turnaround. They got their alternate encoders working again. Their lift runs up and down well. That was huge for our alliance. They were an amazing second pick. We also got our lift mostly fixed. Still had an issue at the very end of the match, but we're going to hopefully fix that in the pits because we got a little bit more turnaround time this time. And yeah, I mean, overall, just went well. We had a better strategy, worked together better, didn't get in each other's way. Just a wonderful match.
I was going to say communication seems to be really strong on that side. Is something that I noticed. How important was that for this?
I mean, I think communication is one of the most important parts of running a good match, because if you've got a strategy and you stick to it, then it lets you do things more efficiently, more quickly, and score more points. And I think especially with that match, we just communicated well. We've played matches before at competitions in the past, so we know each other a little bit. And it's just helpful to kind of have that good communication, good match plan. So I think it helped a ton, yeah.
Well, congrats on that win. That was a great win for you guys, and good luck going into the next round. Dan's?
Kaylee, thank you. 126.83. A good effort for the Blue Alliance. Break this down.
It's a decent score. They're going to have to find a few more points somewhere. They did get 6 penalty points here, so without the penalties, it's only 120. Their next round matchup, well, we don't know yet. We got to wait for the loser of one of our upper bracket matches. But all the teams in the upper bracket scoring 140 plus in their first round. So this 126, it's definitely trending very well in the right direction from their first match, 67. But they're going to have to get that last robot all the way fixed, and they're going to have to find a few more points.
So there's the results from match 6, and the Red Alliance from Walkerville, and that group is eliminated. So again, we're continuing to kind of pare the field down. And we can look forward ahead to our next match. Coming up in just a moment here, we have the Blue Alliance here for match 7. And we're back in the upper bracket. Corunna, the Central Comets, and Saugatuck. And then Red Alliance, Kalamazoo County, Strike Force. Well, expectations of this match, Dan, what do we think?
Number 1 seed playing here. They put up 193 in their first match. We also talked about them having a 200-point match at the end of the qualification rounds together, at least the first 2 robots there, 27-67 and 8-62. So it really is on Blue. What we're going to want to watch is what is Blue doing with their third robot. Are they going to send them to play defense, or are they going to try for 3 on offense to match those points? Gonna look at 862 here. I think they're in party mode right now. So that team's colors are orange and blue. So you've got the orange and blue LEDs going. During the match, they can actually use those LEDs though to indicate stuff to the drivers. Sometimes there are sensors on the robot, and it can see, like, for example, if a coral is in and triggers a sensor, they can make those lights light up to let you know you got it, you can move on to the next step. So sometimes that's used for feedback and not just to look good.
Are there some teams, Dan, that just philosophically will never play any defense? It's all offense all the time? Or do you almost have to say at some point we have to have some defense? Answer that after this. We'll do it later. All right. Head timing on that question.
862. We talked about it in their last match. They did 3 of 3 in the first match. They missed their first shot in this one. We'll see if they can get the second 2 they do. So that's only 5 for the Red Alliance this time instead of 6 in their last match.
But a good start, regardless, yeah.
But only 2 for Blue, right? So still a big lead.
So things start nicely for the Blue Alliance. We move into Teleop for the final 2:15 of this match. This is match number 7, and we're into our second round.
Yep, 33-57 in Blue. Taking a little bit of extra time to pick that one up off the floor, but they are kind of a unique robot in that they don't have to go all the way to the human loading station to get more coral pieces. They'll grab the ones that are on the ground, which can be really beneficial because less driving, less time taken.
The Strike Force machine putting some algae in the high net That is not an automatic strategy, but they've got 4 pieces in that net. That's a 4-point get every time they score.
Yep, and that's a great view of why they're doing it. If you're going to go to the reef anyway, and you're going to score one of those pieces of coral, and you got to take the ball out, you might as well then turn around and score that ball too. We see 862 doing it as well. So they're doing a great job of being as efficient as possible. If you're going there, grab the ball, move on, score it, go back, do it again.
And it unclutters the playing field just a bit too to just get that stuff out of the way.
Yeah, so they don't have to worry about those balls being on the ground that they could then get stuck on.
Right.
Yep. And we saw 27-67 stuck on one of those in their first match.
Yeah. This is a very good run for the Red Alliance. Blue Alliance struggling to keep up. And again, counting 6 pieces of algae in that net.
Yeah, and that's almost the entire difference. That plus auto mode, I think, is the difference in our score right now. Looking at the 2 reefs, I think red is ahead, but blue's reef is pretty full too. We're actually seeing, I think all of level 1 is full for red, all of level 4 is full, all of level 3 looks full. They're getting real close to finishing level 2 as well. Looks like there's 3 open spots.
Yeah, this feels like a 200-point effort here for the Red Alliance.
Yeah, easy. Yep.
Yeah, they're going to get some points on the hang here in the barge zone. And Blue Alliance.
I think we might have just seen the high score in Michigan for the year.
Yeah.
I'll have to check on that, but going to be another 24 points. That is very close. What is it, 83-97? I don't know if their bumper is hitting the line or not. Somebody's going to have to take a look right down on the edge there, because if any part of their robot is over any part of the line, they'll get points. But we see 2 hanging robots for 24. So either 24 or 26 more points for red, and they were, what, 189 on the scoreboard at the end of the match? So we're going to see 200, 215 or so.
It's going to be a lot of happy people with 200.
Oh, and what is that? We have our 2 FTAs looking at that robot, that 83-97 robot, and they would not be out there to see if it's over the line. That's not their job. That would be the referee's job. So that robot stopped. They lost control at some point. And,
disconnected,
I think
maybe?
It disconnected from the field. And right at a bad time if they don't get those 2 points. So our 2 FTAs are out there trying to look through the robot and see if they can figure out what caused the drop.
Yeah, hard to beat that score of 189, and plus they're going to get more based on what you're saying. So
yeah, I mean, so if that 3rd robot did not get over the line, it's still going to be 24 more points on top of the 189. So
Red Alliance wins. No drama there, really. But when they see the numbers, then there's going to be this kind of second wave of excitement. 213 points.
That is a big score, and there are no penalty points helping it along.
You have 152 points, and you lose by 60. That's not great. That's tough to swallow. Kaylee Marentet is downstairs talking with the Red Alliance.
I'm here with Tyler from the Red Alliance. Tyler, that score just popped up on the screen as you were standing next to me. You kind of just gave like, yeah, we did that nod. Are you surprised to see that score?
Not too much. It's really nice to see, of course. Hoping to hopefully continue improving in the future. Loving it, though.
What do you think was the success in this match for you guys?
Yeah, in this one, I mean, nobody broke, obviously, and I think no defense, just kind of everyone doing their own thing. Triple offense, going as hard as we can.
Do you guys plan on maybe upping that defense as you go through today? Or is it kind of a match-by-match situation?
Yeah, it's really match-by-match. See who our opponent is, see how they play against defense, how we can build upon that. See, yeah.
Well, congratulations on that high score.
Thank you so much.
Dans?
Thank you, Kaylee.
So we're going to have to look going forward. I mean, I think this sends a message to every other team that might be playing against the #1 seed. And that is, if you do not send a defender over there, they're going to put over 200 points up on you.
Yeah.
And we'll see if anybody adjusts their strategy to send a defender to try to slow them down.
So it is time to play defense against that group. Looks like I'm hearing it's a wiring issue, maybe?
Yeah. So we're being told it was a CAN bus issue with their CAN bus wiring. So CAN is controller area network. And basically that is how the computer on the robot talks to all the motors. So if that network goes down, your robot will still be connected to the field. The main robot or the main computer on the robot will still be running, but it can't output any commands to the motors. And that's why we saw it stop driving.
Well explained. Is that an easy fix?
It should be, yeah. It's likely the cause is there are a few places where you sort of just take the wires and you stick them into a connector. And a lot of times they cannot be pushed in all the way, so that's a loose wire. It can fall out. Sometimes it's a different connector along the way, but essentially you just will start at one end and just follow the wire all the way around through all the connectors and look for any breaks. They should have it up and running for the next match.
Gotcha. Next match, let's roll into match 9. We have Alliance 5 against, match 8. Getting ahead of myself. Alliance 2 and Alliance 3.
Yep, so this will be our last round 2 match, the last match in the upper bracket. The winner of this will move on to face the number 1 seed in the upper bracket finals in round 4. The loser will drop down and play in match 10 against Alliance number 8 in what will be an elimination match.
So let's take a look at the teams for each respective alliance. Blue Alliance rolls out Grand Haven, the Buccaneers, Kalamazoo Central's Robotics, and the Hamilton Cyberhawks. And Red Alliance, Matawan Wired Cats, Hopkins Tech Vikes, and the Greenville Senior Robo Jackets 2710.
And we got a nice thumbs down right now from the Hopkins Tech Vikes, 2054. I think they're just waiting for everything to connect. So a lot of teams will have cameras that are being used. The cameras can do a few different things. They can stream video back to the driver station. So if you're in like a blind corner on the field or behind something, it'll help you with vision. But also, a lot of these teams are using those cameras. And at the base of the reef, we can sort of see it in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen here. That is what we call an April tag or a visual fiducial. And that is, it's kind of like a QR code, but it's designed for computer vision. So the cameras can actually see those things on the field. There are a bunch of them around the reef. There are some at the human loading stations as well. And it can use those to localize the robot on the field. That is, figure out where it is specifically on the field. You can also use those to help aim when you're coming in to score. So if they don't have that camera feed, it's worse than just not being able to see, what the robot sees when you're driving around. It could actually, their controls could rely on that to help align and score the game pieces.
And they're given a period of time to, there's no penalty, there's just, how do they, at some point they make a decision though that, hey, look, we can't hold this party up forever.
Yeah, they have to kind of determine what the problem is first though, because it is, I won't say equally likely, but there is a possibility that this communication is being hindered because it has to pass through the field's network. And if the field's network is at all at fault, then that is on the crew running the field, not on the team. So you've got to go ahead and get that fixed. So they're going to go out, they're going to try to diagnose the problem. Usually it's a matter of just restarting the robot or unplugging something and plugging it back in, because that is the 2 most powerful things you can do in tech support. And they'll try to figure out what's going on. Usually that will be like a minute delay from the time that they go ahead and reboot stuff.
So we see 4 guys talking on camera there. I'm sure you are well knowledged as to who all of them are.
Our head ref in yellow, that is David Kowalski. The FTA, who's got their back to us, that's Elijah. I do not know Elijah's last name. After this, I will go down and I will ask him, and I will learn that.
Well,
the other
you know
two are
what?
From the team.
I'll stop quizzing you on the names of the judges, as long as you don't quiz me at the end on the mechanical, CAN bus. Mm-hmm. The explanation is great, but please don't test me on it.
I know. I think I've told you what CAN bus stands for a few times over the years. So when I get a name wrong, that's going to be my follow-up question.
Every year it sounds new to me. Everyone patiently waiting. We're going to have to go back to who is the? Can't remember his name. The funky hair thing. Was that why? Izzy, was that his name? Anyway, we're going to have to get into his hair product choices. Because he could have some good, valuable information for us.
Yep.
Well,
looks like another restart.
Are these anxious moments? I mean, yeah, as a mentor, are you kind of trying to just say, hey, look, just relax. It'll get figured out. Because sometimes, plans go sideways and, emotions get a little edgy.
Yeah, and it's tough, especially for the students. Sometimes the mentors have been around long enough. And we're looking at, that's 5675, the Wired Cats. They've been around for a while. They got some veterans on their field crew. But you don't know if it's going to get fixed as a student, right? So you're there, you're like, oh man, what if our robot doesn't work in this match? And what if they tell us we ran out of time and we have to start playing now? So one of the things that can help is having some of that field experience and knowing sort of what things or how much time you're going to get given can help you calm down a little bit. Like we're not in anything extraordinary yet. We have new radios this year, and it looks like that's what he was playing with. So he was kind of playing with the plugs and the power wires for the radio, trying to see if that gets connected. These new radios were used, I think, for the first time at championships last year. That was sort of their trial run, which kind of crazy to do it in the championship match. But the new radios, there are some learning curves with them. I think by and large they've been better than the previous ones. And I think you'll note last week at Jackson, we had very few waiting for robot delays before the start of a match. This is our first one here.
We're hearing there's a new robot coming out.
I don't think so. I think this robot's coming up. I think it's going to work now.
Okay, they're just setting this one up.
So looking at what we can see, it does look like it is starting to boot up in a way that they believe it's going to work. And I can see the field monitor as well from up here. So yeah, we still do not have the radio connected from the robot. So we're waiting for that. And again, I think he was power cycling it down there, unhooking stuff and hooking it back in. These radios take about a minute to boot. We'll see. The good sign is they walked away from the robot. So that could be a good sign. The fact that they didn't immediately start the match means that there is still a belief that it's going to connect. All right, we have that radio reconnected. So it is connected to the field. And now we can see over in the driver station, they are trying to see if they got the camera to come up this time to be able to use it. And this might be the time where if the camera's not working now, after they've gone through multiple reboot processes, everybody's had a look at it and tried to diagnose the problem, they might have to play without the camera at this point.
All right, looks like we got thumbs up, green light, go.
So that's who we want to watch, 56-75 in red. Scored their first one. It's going to be the second one is going to really tell us if the robot is fully functional, and they scored it. So I think that robot has everything working that they want working. They come back, they even get a third. Tech Bikes on the other side, 2054 gets 3 and are lined up with a fourth one ready to go.
And an explosive start for the Red Alliance, 54 points in Autonomous.
Yep, still 4 up high for Blue in Autonomous, so they're doing a good job of keeping it close.
And we swing into Teleop. Blue Alliance got a little work to do.
Big hit, 72-10, hitting 6,002, and that is going to be a penalty. I think what it is, so 72-10, playing defense, they have a roller sticking out on the front of their robot. You're not allowed to hit people inside the frame perimeter. So that piece sticking out, every time they hit another robot, there's another penalty for it. Every time they hit another robot, that's going to be a 6-point foul.
The Bucket Gears robot for the Blue Alliance. So still a comfortable lead and a big start for the Red Alliance. They score another point with Algae in the net.
Yep, top level complete for Red. I think the ref just missed. No, it's there. They saw it. Another penalty on 72-10 and another penalty on 72. That's at least 4, I think 6-point penalties on the Red robot here.
That's the Robo Jackets, where it's machined from Greenville High School.
Yep, and that's part of the reason why this score is looking so close, 118 to 104. But Red has completely finished their top row. They've got 2 more balls in the net, and they've got more coral on the second row. and those extra autonomous mode points. So those penalties, they got to stop. Another penalty.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe 2 there. I don't know if they're going to call that as 1 or 2. I think another one. I think they're having a hard time. The 2 refs on the sides of the field are talking to each other. They're having a hard time calling everything because as soon as they turn around to put 1 penalty in, it looks like there's another penalty happening.
Penalty palooza for the Blue Alliance, and an algae drop by the Blue Alliance.
Meanwhile, red, level 4 completely full. Level 2 looks completely full. And we know 2 of these red robots can do that deep climb. They're both going for it now.
Bucking gears with the drop on the coral. Now we got a couple of hanging Blue Alliance robots. Good hangs.
2 up for blue, 2 up for red.
So that's good.
72-10 stuck on a ball at the end. They're not going to get park points. And 35-46 out trying to score till the last second. Also not going to get any park points. So hangs should cancel out. Red was ahead. But there were so many penalties called in that match. It would not surprise me if they talk about that for a minute and make sure they have the right number, and we could see a score change because of that.
A lot of offense, but again, penalty points may be an important factor here.
Yeah, we can see in this shot that 72-10 in the background on that ball. It's those 2 pieces of metal. That's a ground intake. That'll fold out and help them pick up balls off the ground. That was sticking out like that the entire match, and every time they hit a robot with that side of their robot, that was hitting their structure inside the frame perimeter and giving the other alliance a penalty. Or they would get a penalty and give the other alliance penalty points.
And again, these are all elimination matches too now, so.
This one is not.
We're not there yet, but we're getting close.
This was the last upper bracket semifinal. So one more chance to either of these robots. I can see too the head ref is out there. He's explaining to the team why there were so many penalties, which is a great move because, strictly speaking, he doesn't have to go out there and do that. That team could come out and get the same penalties again.
Red Alliance win. There's the final tally, 187 to 165. So the margin of victory shrinks down based on the penalty points. So again, good teaching moments and lessons.
Yep.
We're going to try to revisit with both alliances.
So see how that looks. 187. I think there are going to be some penalties for red as well. So I think that score is a little bit inflated on both sides. But 187 is now starting to get back up in the neighborhood of what they need. Close to that 200 where they can really give the #1 alliance a run for their money.
Let's hear from Ava with the Red Alliance. Here's Kaylee.
Ava, notice a lot of penalties there. I felt like I was seeing the red flag go up a lot. What happened with that?
Yeah, so our defense robot, they might have, I'm not really sure what happened, but they might have gone into the protected zone of the reef, which could have contributed to those penalty points.
Obviously a win here. Is there anything you want to switch up or anything you're going to talk to your team about changing?
Honestly, I haven't thought about that yet, but if we see some problems from that match, we'll definitely talk about it.
All right, thanks, Ava. Good luck into the next round. Dan and Dan?
All right, thanks, Kaylee.
Yeah, but again, I mean, we saw the head ref kind of updating the team on where a lot of those penalties came from. So I expect that they will, moving forward, keep that roller inside the robot. I don't think they've used it in a match yet. And we have seen in the past where teams will, zip tie or Velcro a mechanism so it can no longer move, just to make sure it can't fall outside of the robot and cause those penalties.
Red Alliance perspective. Let's go downstairs to Kaylee.
So I wanted to ask you, how is communication going on for your side of the alliance?
communication between our alliance members is really strong. We work with Robotics for all the scoring for the algae and the barge, and then we really communicate with 6114 for the defense. We had a very strong last match where 6114 played strong defense, and that's what we were looking to do this time, slow them down, and then make up the deficit with our scoring.
What do you think was the biggest challenge in that last match for you guys?
We had a couple penalty points for contacting the net while scoring the algae and the barge. Robotics just fixed their barge scoring, so that's something we're looking to continue to work on throughout the competition, and we'll see what we do for the next one.
All right, thank you. Dan and Dan?
Kenny, thanks.
Okay, that explains some of the penalty points that Red got. So some blue penalties for touching. Yeah, when you go up to score those kickballs, the algae in the net in the middle, you're not allowed to touch it. And that's really just trying to keep the field protected. We don't want the field breaking. Teams, you know, if you're up there slam dunking and tearing down the backboard like Shaq, that is a long repair for our field crew.
Here's our Blue Alliance for this 9th match, round 3, Holland, West Ottawa, and Columbia. And our Red Alliance, Corunna, Centrals, Comets, and Saugatuck Turbulence. And we roll into this match. Autonomous for 15 seconds.
See, 33-57 gets the first one, but unable to reload. Same thing, 141 missing their second grab here. It's going to be close after auto mode.
Now into Teleop. All offense for the Red Alliance and Blue Alliance. No defense yet.
29-59. Spending a lot of time there getting lined up, but maybe the ball was stuck. I think they were clearing the ball off.
That 56-10 machine for the Red Alliance Turbulence. Going low for a score for Coral. Blue Alliance has the upper hand, and they're kind of working the low area in the reef zone. Now they're going to go high.
A little bit of a slow start for 33-57, but they are starting to find their groove now. The top, very empty on both sides of the field still, but Blue has been working on that second level, or the third level, second from the top. So they got an advantage there.
Pretty close. A 10-plus point lead for the Blue Alliance. There's a drop of Coral in a place they didn't want it to go. Good recovery, though.
So only 2 available top level 4 spots left for Blue, and they're about to get both of those right here. So this will complete. If 141 can't go high enough, so they're going to have to go to a lower level. It looks like that Coral is just hanging a little bit out.
We're getting close to hang time in the barge zone. And again, nobody has gone for algae points in this match. Everything's been all about Coral. Now we got a ball grab, but not for points.
Yeah, it looks like already 33-57 looking to get their climb in.
Oh, look at that machine struggling to get free from the algae on the floor. Now we got 2 Blue Alliance robots looking to hang, and all 3 Red Alliance robots are poised, and at least 2 off the ground. Maybe not that one in the middle, though.
Yep, 2 off, I think, for both alliances. So that's going to be 24 points apiece canceling. We have 1 parked robot in red for 2 points.
This is going to be
and
close.
Red, had a couple point deficit on the scoreboard that we last saw. I think it was maybe 101. It's like 99 maybe. So presumably, if the scores are correct on the scoreboard and the end game scores hold up the way that we see it, this could be a tie.
And then that means a redo of the whole match.
I think we'll go to tiebreaker.
Okay.
And I'll have to check. I think it was the least penalty points is the first tiebreaker.
Okay. This will be our closest match of the day, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And again, they have to be very detailed and specific when they tally up the scoring.
And I think either way, this is going to be a lower score than they win.
Right.
Yep. Okay, so blue does take it. It's going to be Alliance 6 moving on. Alliance 5 has now been eliminated. And 129 to 125. So a few points adjusted at the end. Endgame scoring did, I think, work out the way we thought it would. But just a couple of coral maybe weren't quite scored yet for one side.
Only 4 points separating these two teams. We'll have to unpack the numbers when they become official. And we can put it all on one slick graphic for you.
So that was a pretty big drop in Alliance 5 scoring. Alliance 5 had put up 146, 152 in their first two matches. Only 125 here in their loss. And again, I think some of that was 33-57, who played great in their first two matches. Started off a little slow here, picked it up towards the end, but just a little too late on that.
And here's the scores and the numbers that break down how this was won. 2 penalty points. Man.
Wow. So 2 penalty points kind of offset by the 2 extra barge points, and then it's just 4 coral points is the difference. And 4 coral points could be the difference between scoring 2 more coral in auto mode versus teleoperated mode, driver control mode, or it could be a single piece of coral on level 3.
A nail biter for the Blue Alliance. Here's Isaac with Kaylee.
Hey guys, Isaac is here with me. Isaac, very, very close match there. We weren't even sure if that was going to be a tie, if you were going to have to go to a tiebreaker. When the score popped up, though, I noticed a couple of your teammates almost get emotional. What is that feeling like for you guys?
I mean, it's just a huge high. We expected a tie out of that match at the end. We didn't actually even expect to be ranked this high in qualifications or in playoffs, really, because we had never tested our robot in a game scenario before. So it's crazy to get this far. And I mean, we've all put tons of time, tons of effort into the robot, so it makes sense that we're all a little emotional about it.
Definitely congratulations to you guys and good luck moving forward. Dan and Dan, we're going to send it back to you, up to you guys.
Kaylee, thank you.
So number 6 Alliance with the win there. Number 6 Alliance has improved their score every round so far. 67 in their first round, 126 in the second round, and then that 129 right there. So they're slowly ramping their scores up, but of course they still have a ways to go to catch up to our top 2 alliances with 190, 200, 177, 187.
So we always like to see the scores go up. And, you know, I don't know. I mean, defense is fun, but I guess I'd rather see points. Is that the mindset?
I don't know. I am a fan of the
defense.
what 2004 era Pistons.
Ah, the bad boys. That's
bad boys, and then the go to work Pistons.
Yeah,
I'll take either of them.
Either of them, yes.
Yeah.
Known for their defense, right?
This year's game, though, it is hard to make a big impact with defense. Number 3 Alliance coming up in our next match, 6114, is one of the robots that has been playing great defense today, though.
Do you have to build your machine differently if you just say, hey, look, this robot is dedicated to defense?
There are some games where you can actually design mechanisms that help with your defending. There are some games where you would shoot into a goal, and you can design your robot to basically be tall and be able to block those shots. You can put the blocker facing in the right direction, so you can always kind of keep it faced towards that other robot. In this year's game, most robots seem to be designed for offense, and then we'll just switch over to start playing defense. And that's why we'll see, too, the effectiveness of the defensive robot can vary a lot, because these are robots that were probably scoring, you know, this morning and all day yesterday when they were playing matches, but now are finding themselves having to take on that defensive role.
So we reintroduce ourselves to these teams and these two alliances. A good uniform look there for that group.
Yep, that is, they've all got Twizzlers.
Yeah.
So I thought it was just the drive crew that had to eat them, but it looks like it's
Everybody.
the whole team.
That's a lot of Twizzlers.
Maybe they get that giant Costco pack.
Yes. So teams all settling in. You can see Team Robotics in the orange.
Looks like everybody is just about ready to go here. Good look at 6114. That is the defensive robot I've been talking about. Of course, you can see they have everything they need to score here. And they are going to go for a score on that preloaded piece of coral here at the start of the match.
And away we go. The 85 machine for the Blue Lions, built on brains.
And coming up short on that first attempt.
Yeah, same for the 6002 Red Alliance, Robotics.
And 2 misses on 85. Small lead to Red. Not great auto modes from either side this time.
They'll try to rebound in Teleop. And there's a high coral score for Built on Brains, Robot Bob.
3 robots on offense for Blue. Oh, 6114 is stuck on a ball. They get off by themselves. And they had to, right?
Yeah.
Nobody could come to help them. When you're on the defensive side of the field, nobody else can come over there to help. But now we see that keeping 85 away from that loading zone, 85 chooses to go instead for some of the balls, and they're stuck on a ball now. They look like they need some assistance.
The danger of all the loose materials on the playing field.
Yep.
Highlighted right there.
65-48, trying to get them off the ball. They need them free. They're going to need the scoring from 85.
They got them.
Finally, yep. A lot of lost time, though.
Yeah. And the 85 machine not even moving. Or struggling to move.
Yeah, we'll see if maybe that messed up their steering a little bit, and they might need a second to recalibrate stuff. See a missed shot, 35-46, going high, trying to put an algae in the net, missed it. Red up on the scoreboard, but Blue does have, at least they have one more high up score that they can do for 5 points. They have one more big score left. Red has finished their entire level 4.
And the 85 robot successfully unloading some coral.
Yeah, met again by 6114, though, really making it hard for them to get in and get loaded. And 6114 is now gone, looking to climb. So no more defense left, but 85 is stuck on a ball again.
Wow.
In Blue, so they're trying to shake themselves free. Again, another helping hand, this time from 6128, but that, I don't know, that's a lot of lost time.
And Blue Alliance is going to have to make a push here. Only one robot in that barge zone. Red Alliance has 2. And that may be enough to carry them into the next round.
85 has been going over and climbing at the end of matches, but being stuck on that ball threw their timing off. They just did not have enough time to get over there and do it. 2 up from Red and the lead on the scoreboard. We do have the match under review showing up on the in-house scoreboard here.
Apparently 65-48 lost a battery. That's the Perry Rambots. And their machine Guppy.
So that robot did cross the field at some point to start playing defense. So we can see, basically, I don't think anybody has touched the robot since the end of the match. And what we can see is there are no lights on anywhere inside the robot. Just above the numbers on the side, of course, people keep walking by, there's that pink connector that you can see kind of buried inside there. That pin connector is the main battery connector. You can see that it is zip tied together and did not come unplugged. Maybe it did. I can't quite see. That sometimes is the case. That connector sometimes can come unplugged, and that can be the root of the problem. It doesn't look like it here.
Here's the replay. And again, that 65-48 just stalls.
Wow, it just goes out. Yeah. Maybe that connector is unplugged. Maybe we didn't quite get a good shot of it, but that's the kind of thing, if it's not pushed in all the way. It's interesting because there was no contact. A lot of times when you see robots lose power, it'll be like 2 robots smash into each other and one just dies at that point. But that was not at all in contact, right? They hit each other, kind of moved around a little bit, and then it went out. So definitely seems to be indicative probably of a loose wire somewhere.
So we'll find out in the arena here who wins. This is a Red Alliance win. 141 to 98. So it turns out to be a fairly sizable win for the Red Alliance.
Yep. And it does hurt that they lost the robot. It was decently late in the match when they went down. And they had already shifted over to defense. I'm not sure that that was the cause of the defeat, which is nice. You never want a broken robot to be the problem.
So the Blue Alliance is eliminated. Let's go downstairs. Kaylee's talking with James from the winning Red Alliance.
James, I noticed you guys took a lot of shots with the algae, not so much though making it into the net. Is there an adjustment that you guys can make heading into the next match to make sure you score more?
Yeah, we're looking to drop the speed on spitting the algae into the barge. So the other times we made it, we were more angled, so it hit another algae or hit the side and it stayed in. So we didn't think it was an issue. But going straight in and trying to score it, it was just going too fast. We're going to drop the speed and we're confident that'll fix the problem.
You think that'll be an easy fix for you guys?
Yeah, it'll be an easy fix. We're just, our programming's pretty good. We're just going to drop the speed in our variables. So.
Okay, well, good luck. Dan and Dan?
Kaylee, thank you. And let's break down the scoreboard and see where this Blue Alliance path to victory came from. Red Alliance.
Yeah, we saw a couple of issues on the Blue Alliance. 65-48, of course, losing power to the robot at some point. And 85 twice stuck on top of a ball and needing one of their partners to come and get them free. And, you know, there's just not enough margin for error in these late matches here to be able to overcome both of those things happening at the same time.
And Kaylee chats right now with Dino Schaefer from Copes, a dedicated sponsor, mentor, and driving force behind today's event setup.
Dino Schaefer from Copes is here with me. Thank you for joining me here
you're
today.
Welcome. Well, it's glad to be here. Thank you.
So Copes, a big part of First in Michigan. Talk about your guys' relationship.
Well, it's a great relationship. We started about 11 years ago getting involved. Local teams were looking for sponsorship money, and we started there with giving some money to the teams and helping them out. Eventually found some opportunities to grow from that, and I can tell you a little more about that.
I know one thing that you guys are involved with in particular is the Michigan Rookie Build event. Why are you involved in that, and why is that so important to help out these rookies?
Well, we saw some opportunity. A couple of our mentors have been at the event for the Rookie Build, and we saw that they needed some tools and stuff like that, things that we can give teams that are new and starting to start on the right foot. So we gave them some deburring tools, and it just helps them a little bit with their process of their equipment and things that they have to do with their machine. So we just thought that was great. It was a great connection. Why not help?
Why not? Why not first? Yes. You guys made this event a lot easier today, in particular hiring 100 volunteers to set up the event today. Yes. How did you do that?
I don't know. This is one of those things where you kind of see opportunity to help, right? Mm-hmm. Stewardship. So how do we help people? We saw last year, I saw the field get set up, and I'm like, we really need to get my company involved in that. So we kind of talked with the ownership of the company, and they saw they have a stewardship part of their company. It's kind of their cornerstone at Copes. And so we brought 100 people out here. People got paid for the day to be here, make a difference. And I think they set a record for setting up the field. It's unbelievable to get 100 people out there and get things done in a day.
Maybe something you want to do at States?
Yeah, I don't know. They might want me. I'm sure I'm going to get a phone call here from Gail soon.
I would imagine so. So Copes does hire First students.
Oh, we own them. We love them.
You love them.
I love them.
Why do you love them?
They have the tools. They're learning leadership. They're learning skills of problem solving, communication skills. They start getting that at a younger age. And then when they come to Copes, they have those skills that we're looking for, and they get into the trades. James Osterhaus is one of my star pupils. He was a Dean's List winner, and start seeing those Dean's List winners are like, hey, these kids, they're already picked. I don't even have to interview them. I know they have the skills that we're looking for.
Yes.
And so like James here, he comes in, works the year, does running robots his first year, driving robots and having a good time with that. And now we're moving him into more of a leadership position in doing business sales this summer. So they are bringing money to us in their work they do. They offer that service, and they're learning as they go, and it's just exciting. Right now, I'm very proud. I got a 4th Dean's List coming this year, so we have 4 of the students. We get them. We're going to take them.
How many students would you say that you guys have hired?
Oh,
first?
My goodness. We probably have I think we have around 32 alumni and at Copes. And the last few years, I'm getting about 2 to 3. And a lot from the Holland area. We kind of look about a half hour out from where our companies are at, and we kind of look at those areas because kids got to drive. They're not going to go much more than a half hour, so we got to look for those schools that are around here. And and then what's kind of fun, it makes a community. The students like to come, and all of a sudden their friend comes, and then their friend comes.
And they tell one more person, and one more person, and one more. You're like, yeah, spread the word, go ahead.
This past summer, the kids built a air cannon for shooting T-shirts. So we're going to have that out later. So we're going to throw some T-shirts later today. So it'll be fun.
I'm sure Dan and Dan will be at reaching and grabbing.
I think they said don't hurt anybody.
Dino, thank you so much for sitting down here with us. We're going to send it back upstairs.
Yep.
And there's the group. All the volunteers that just graciously give their time, effort, energy.
Do you think they all chose to wave, or were they instructed to wave when the camera panned by?
I believe that that happens organically. That's I may be a little naive in that way, but you know, right. Everybody loves waving to a camera. And yes, everybody.
Yeah, there we go.
You can't it's the energy in these events is infectious. It just never ceases to amaze me how everybody is. Nobody's dragging or disconnected.
Yeah.
The robots might be disconnected
sometimes,
but not the workers. So we are coming up on match 11.
Yep, and this is going to be maybe a preview of the finals. So this will be our upper bracket finals, Alliance 1 versus Alliance 2.
So here we come.
Yeah, so Alliance 1 winning in round 1, winning in round 2. They get to skip round 3 because of that, and Alliance 2 doing the same. So we'll see them here in round 4. The winner of this match goes on to the finals. The loser is going to drop down, get one more chance to play their way back. And then we're going to see Alliance 3 versus Alliance 6 in the lower bracket elimination match.
So let's take a look at our team, starting with the Blue Alliance. We have Matawan, Hopkins, and Greenville.
72-10, remember, collected a bunch of penalties in their last match out, so we're looking for them to fix that somehow.
How easy is it to fix penalties?
In this one, they just have to keep their intake from, extending outside of the robot. So if that's something that they can control, they just have to make sure it stays folded up. And if not, maybe, like I said, I've seen teams in the past where they will lock it in place, either with zip ties or something like that, so it can't fold out, and you can't get those penalties. Take a look at Alliance number 1 is averaging 203 points a match. They put up 193 in the first, 213 points in the second match. Alliance 2, though, is within a stone's throw of that. They're averaging 182. So about a 20-point difference between these two alliances, but 182 is, pretty good scores for this point in the competition.
Yeah, that lots to be happy about, for sure.
And we will see if 72-10 goes over on defense and is able to do any slowing down of our number 1 seed. I expect 83-97 in red to also cross the field and continue playing defense. One of the keys here in auto mode, 862 has been hit or miss a little bit in the matches here. So we got to watch them to make sure they are able to hit their 3 auto modes. And then 2054 on the other side is capable of hitting 3 fast and loading up a 4th. So we want to keep an eye on them as well.
How much defense do you think we're going to see here in this match coming up?
For sure. I think both alliances are sending somebody over immediately under driver control and going for defense.
And away we go. We start with the 862
and
machine. Lightning Robotics.
Like I said, they've been on and off. Last match they missed the first and hit the next 2. They're going to need to do that here just to keep it close.
Just a little inconsistent.
Oh, 4. 4 from 2054 in blue. 2 from 5675. We actually have a blue lead after autonomous mode. This is the first time Alliance 1 has not been ahead after auto.
That is big. And we are watching the 2 top alliances go toe-to-toe. And a mishandle with a piece of algae. A rare stumble, but there is good points coming for the Blue Alliance. Red Alliance trying to keep up. It's very close.
Yep, and I was wrong in my prediction. 83-97 is staying home, scoring some level 1 on the shelf scores. Still 2 points a pop for those. And that could make the difference in a close match. 72-10 though, by blocking off one of the loading zones, they're forcing all 3 of the other robots to share the same zone or to fight through them to get extra coral pieces.
We have a little bit of algae scoring, not much, by both teams.
Yeah, well just as you say that.
They're going to perk up now. Red Alliance getting some algae and putting it up in the net for 4 points.
Yep, 4 up top for red, 3 up top for blue.
Yeah. Boy, this is back and forth. A lower level coral score for the Blue Alliance.
A small lead for red right now.
Red Alliance working the same area on their side of the field.
And 27-67 has crossed the field. That means there's something wrong with their robot. They've got a piece of coral in the robot, and they are now playing defense, and they're going to play good defense. They've got great drivers on that team, but there's no way they cross the field like that unless something is broken on their robot.
And you can see that loose algae there on the floor. Sometimes it gets in the way, and sometimes it's something you can dislodge your machine on. Now, we got 3 robots for the Red Alliance, all going into that barge zone to try to hang. Blue Alliance is going to send all 3 of their robots in. 2 are airborne. Oh my, is this close. The hanging points, the 72-10 machine, the Robo Jackets, is not in the barge zone. That could be meaningful.
I think that match was very close. I think blue had a small lead going into the end game, and I think red just got saved by their 3rd robot on that alliance. 83-97 also has a climb. They were able to find that with the 24th robot, the 16th pick in the draft. And blue only capable of climbing with 2. So we see in red, we're going to see all 3 robots getting up. That's 12 points apiece. That's 36 points in the end game. Blue, I think, gets 2 up. Yep, we can see 56-75 going up in the back. And 72-10 parks, but the park is only worth 2 points. 83-97 being up in the air off that deep cage is worth 12. So red is going to gain 10 points in the end game. And I think they were down by less than that. On the scoreboard, they were down by like 1.
Boy, this is going to be very, very tense and tight as they tally up the points.
And if, hopefully we can get some interview questions for Strike Force, why they went over and played defense. Is there something wrong with that robot? And if that robot broke and they fix it, this might have been a great chance to knock off the number 1 seed that they might not see again. But if it's broken and they're going to struggle to fix it, maybe they don't get it back up to full, it could, it could be a bad omen for the number 1 alliance, even if they squeak out a victory here.
And if there's penalties in play too, that will.
Yeah, we do have the review going up. Again, we know the scores change a little bit as the human scores, tap on their tablets to get the scores right. But it was a 1-point lead for blue. We think endgame was 10 points in red's favor. So this presumably is about a 9-point win for red. That's very close. There was some contact. They're going to be discussing, did they miss any scoring? Were there any penalties? Because even one penalty might change the outcome here. I think they are entering in something. And that is a yellow card.
And that means?
Yellow card on blue. And so essentially, so they said it was for damaging contact inside the frame perimeter. We talked about that earlier matches. When you play defense, you can't hit other robots inside the robot. We're not trying to break other robots. And if you hit somebody inside their frame perimeter, which is essentially reaching into their robot and hitting them, and you do damage, that's going to be a yellow card. So now they're carrying a yellow card. The yellow card itself doesn't mean anything in this match. There was penalty points associated with that foul as well. But if you get a second yellow card, that will escalate to a red card, and you'll be disqualified from that match. So if they get another yellow, they lose that match. They have to play extra clean now.
Well explained. And that's rare.
Yeah, it's pretty rare. I mean, we see them from time to time, but we didn't see any last week.
We have a Red Alliance win. And it is close. 185, 172. Maybe some penalty points swinging it.
Yeah, so it ended up being 13-point win. We thought it was going to be about 9. And that penalty that they could have added would have been a 6-point penalty. So, that with some scoring adjustments, that's what we're seeing here.
Downstairs we go to Kaylee Marentet.
Tyler is here with me from the winning Red Alliance. Tyler, Dan had this question, and so did I. I noticed that your guys' bot started to play defense.
Yeah.
Did something go wrong?
Yeah, something broke. Okay, I'm pretty sure our elevator wasn't zeroed right because we were trying to get our coral from the funnel into like our chute kind of thing, and it was just kind of hit in the chute like head on, so we weren't quite able to get the coral in there. So my coach just told me, "Hey, go play D." So did what I could.
Is that something that you guys are going to be able to fix heading into the next round?
Yep, our programmers will look into it, our mechanical people, so hopefully it'll be good by next match.
Okay. Well, congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Dan and Dan?
All right, thank you. Let's review Autonomous. First we'll do scores.
We saw the 6 penalty points there added at the end for the yellow card infraction. Look at those barge points, though. 26 for blue, 36 for red. And Coral scoring actually blue favored, 121 to 118. Again, they had that advantage coming out of auto mode, and that is probably the difference in those Coral points that we're seeing here. This is going to be close. I mean, there's a really good chance the number 2 Alliance is able to win their next match, come back up, and face the number 1 Alliance in the finals, the best 2 out of 3 finals.
Yeah, they had more points in Coral, but could not sustain that in other areas.
Yeah, the barge points and then the extra penalty. And then, we can see that triple hang from red was huge just to secure the win there.
Yeah, that's pretty much where things turned or carried the Red Alliance over the top. Again, sometimes it's the really small things that end up being big things.
And that, I mean, you can almost give credit to the strategy team of the number 1 Alliance. So Strike Force was first picked Lightning Robotics 862, and they both got together and found a gem in 8397 with the last pick in the draft, a robot that is capable of getting that 12-point climb.
And here's the Blue Alliance. That's Alliance 6. Holland Team Chaos. And then we have it with the 3rd Alliance. So this is Alliance 6 against Alliance 3.
So this is going to be a rematch. Alliance 3 played Alliance 6 in the very first round of the tournament, match number 3. Or match number 4. Alliance 3 won that match 147 to 67. But, of course, I have to remind you, that was the match in which 2959 for blue, the number 6 Alliance, was having, elevator lift issues, which they have since fixed. Alliance 3 averaging 151 points. They've got a 141, a 147, and a 165 under their belts. Alliance 6 has nothing higher than 140. They only have a 126, a 129, and then that aforementioned 67 where they were dealing with broken robots.
Yeah.
So they got to find more scoring somewhere, or they've got to find a lot of defense to bring down this number 3 Alliance's scoring potential.
So again, we are continuing to thin out the field. This is the lower bracket in round 4.
Yep, winner of this moves on to the lower bracket finals, and the loser is eliminated.
So a fairly involved discussion here.
Yeah, so there is a question mark box on the side of the field. We saw the number 2 Alliance captain coming over. You go to the question mark box, the head ref comes over, you can ask them your question. I'm guessing it's just clarification on that yellow card. Nothing is going to change from that, it does not look like. But you can lobby for changes. It's rare that they'll go back and change stuff. Often it's just asking for an explanation. Like, why did we get the yellow card? Can you tell us exactly what we need to not do in the future?
We don't want to make that mistake again.
Right, yep. Right. So it looks like they've got everything set now. I think they're done looking back at the last match, and we should be ready to get this next match underway. Yep, thumbs up on the field.
Yep, good to go, green light. We'll fire it up here and roll them out. For the autonomous period, again, just 15 seconds, then it's Teliop.
Got a miss from 6002. I think red has higher potential here, but another miss from 3546 as well. 6002 comes back and misses again. Ton of misses on red. They had more attempts, but blue 3-1 on top level scores.
Blue Alliance with the stronger effort in autonomous, but now Teliop, Red Alliance, with a nice pushback the other way.
3546 goes for the algae score, but it bounces out.
And Robotics with a coral score. Boy, some big point swings going here.
Yep, we do see 6114 continuing their defense. 74 having a hard time getting loaded here. Even after 6114 was forced to back out, another coral drops on the ground before they finally get one in the robot.
Well, there is a kind of a the points are good. It just seems like there's not a little bit too quiet out there. Is that machine's not moving too fast?
Yeah, the red side is really, you know, where we would expect to see a little bit smoother scoring. There's just 2 robots left alone on the field. Blue's playing 3 on offense. And of course we have 6114 playing defense. So we need to see the 2 red robots really start to pick up their scoring.
Only 1 piece of algae scoring. So that is not a factor right now.
Yeah, and we can just see this battle between 74 and 6114. Look at all those coral pieces on the ground. Most of those are a missed human load. And we can see another one. Look at that. That one does fall in, but almost got knocked out.
That Hamilton Cyberhawks machine.
And that's really taken 74 out of this game. I mean, 74 does score that one that they got there. Does look like a penalty, though, is going to be had on 6114 as they try to leave to get their hang going.
And again, there's algae all over the place on the playing field right now.
And we did see, basically just when you brought it up, is when the Red Alliance sort of settled in and started really scoring the coral at a fast rate. They have level 4 completely full, level 3 completely full, and they're working on level 2 now. In addition to getting 2 robots up and hanging, I think blue 74 is up for sure. 141 looks like it's touching the ground to me.
So Red Alliance looks like they're in a good place on the scoreboard.
really that defense started picking up. 61-14, really getting in 74's way there for a bit, slowing Blue down. And at the same time, it felt like 6002 and 35-46 found their groove offensively, and they filled their reef up very quickly at that point.
That's Team Chaos successfully hanging in the barge zone. The other Blue machine not as productive in the barge zone.
Yep, so we're looking at 2 hanging robots for Red. That's going to be 24 points. 1 hanging robot for Blue, and 1 parked robot is only going to be 14 points. So 10-point advantage to Red. Red was up on the clock. They managed to, or up on the scoreboard when the clock hit 0. They managed to kind of turn that score around. They were down, kind of hovering down around about 10 points for maybe the first half of that match. And then they just sort of exploded with scoring and took the lead by, yeah, fairly comfortable amount. I think they were up by almost 30 on the scoreboard.
So they're disengaging the machines on the field as the judges are tallying up the points. And
yep, they'll get started on that.
yeah, we know who our winner is. It will be a Red Alliance win. $155-15. So that margin of victory expands.
40, yeah, and that's about what we thought, right? 30-point lead on the scoreboard, and then they had the extra hanging robot at the end, so it's going to be another 10 points there, and we see about a 40-point victory here. 155, pretty good. That falls in line with what we've expected from Alliance number 3. Their average score now 152, so almost just a couple points above their average.
And a 40-point win for the Red Alliance. Let's jump downstairs and rejoin Kaylee Marentet.
James is here with me from the Red Alliance. James, you guys seem to be trailing for a little while until about midway through the match. Did you guys kind of switch gears in any way or readjust?
Yeah, so part of that was our algae scoring. We went to the practice field after our last match to fix the algae speeds and try to stop it from bouncing out, and we're still having trouble with it this match. So the deficit was from trying to score the algae, and then once we kicked it back in the coral mode, we made up the gap easily.
Are you guys going to make any changes heading into the next match?
Yeah, we're discussing what to change for that. We think we can probably still go slower, but we're thinking about trying to angle it more again and trying to hit the more algae when we launch it in.
Obviously, getting close to the finals here, getting close to the championship, what is going to be your mentality coming into this? Obviously, a little bit more pressure.
Yeah, so we're pretty happy with the strategy we have. We just think we can execute it on it better. So we're just going to keep developing and looking at what other teams are doing and adjust from there.
All right, thanks, James.
Thank you.
Dan and Dan?
Kaylee, thank you. Let's go back downstairs as we pick up our awards ceremony. We'll join the public address announcer, Doug.
All right, as we start the awards here, I'd like to show you how I would like the teams to come down and enter here. Come through the magic line over here, and exit over here. Okay, I'm sure you can do that for me. The Imagery Award is in honor of Jack Kamen, Dean's father, for his dedication to art, illustration, and his devotion to FIRST. This award celebrates attractiveness in engineering and outstanding visual aesthetic integration of the machine and the team appearance. Light bulbs went off when the judges met with this team. Their electronic displays, coordinated team gear, and a bot named Neptune certainly didn't leave the judges feeling gray. Intelligence matters, and these brainiacs got the memo. Congratulations. 5712, that's Hemlock's Gray Matter. I'm in the habit of calling the teams that are seated farthest away. The Gracious Professionalism Award celebrates outstanding demonstration of FIRST core values such as continuous, gracious professionalism, working together both on and off the field of play. The winning team exemplifies the principles of FIRST, fairness, humility, positivity, and respect. This team stands as an ancient pillar of the values of gracious professionalism, demonstrating positivity to overcome communication difficulties. Charging in to host teams at their practice field, this prehistoric team knows that humanity is needed by any FIRST team. Congratulations, 2959 the Robotarians! The Team Spirit Award celebrates extraordinary enthusiasm and spirit through exceptional partnership and teamwork, furthering the objectives of FIRST. This team's enthusiasm can be heard from the stands to the pits and all the way to the judges' room. They don't speak in code when discussing their passion for FIRST. Drawing students from their home schools, they ensure no one is feeling blue. Team 3458 Code Blue!
Funny, they're all in that corner.
I knew better. I waited for this big blue beard here. The Rising All-Star Award celebrates the team that has persisted through challenges despite the difficulties of being young. This could be the result of being a new team or a team with recent turnover in membership. Devastated by a high turnover, this team soared their challenges. Showcasing their robot at local events has helped kids spread their wings in coding and robot driving, getting many new fledglings to join their team and clawing their way back up the pecking order. This team's flock is flying high. Congratulations, 6114, the Cyberhawks!
Earlier today, Kaylee Marentat checked in with Grand Valley State's Dean Emeritus of Engineering. His name is Paul Plotkowski, and he highlights how the university champions first teams and their alumni.
Paul Plotkowski is here with me, the Dean Emeritus of College of Engineering at Grand Valley State University. Paul, thanks for sitting here with us today.
Glad to join you.
So I have to bring this up. We just talked about how you're the father of FIRST at Grand Valley State University. 24 years FIRST has been coming to Grand Valley State. Talk about year one compared to where we are right now.
Well, year one was convincing the university that the facility was best used this way and throwing out all those championship athletic teams. We started out as a regional competition back in the days, and with about 24 teams, so it's grown a lot.
A little bit.
In those days, the state of Michigan only had 3 competitions, so FIRST in Michigan has just taken it to a whole new level. The students' teams came from all over the state. These days, while there's some from across the state, it tends to be more local teams designed that way. The overall energy level and the maturity of the teams is just so much higher these days because they have a whole ecosystem, starting with elementary school, working their way up. And, the gal that's running this, Nikki, she met her employer as a high school student here. And joined Grand Valley and went through our co-op program with them and then joined them and has spent her career with JR Automation. So, the pipeline started early and it's staying on and feeding itself.
Not only is this, this is a really good opportunity for kids to be exposed to Grand Valley State University. Like you said, Nikki started with FIRST and then she went here. Talk about how great this is for the university to host all these students.
Oh, absolutely. You'd learn early on the number one thing you can do to expose students is get them on campus.
Yep.
We have incredible facilities, and we're a teaching first university. So you get students on campus, they start interacting with the people here that are all about the students, and it just kind of grows on its own. It's natural. And we start with FIRST and other programs. The employers that are here are mostly from my co-op companies. And they want our talent, and we told them, if you want our talent, you need to help us and reach down further. And so it really becomes a self-sustaining system that the students, we do it first and foremost because it's a great thing for the students. And that's the right answer. But then the other right answer is it's good for the university. And the other right answer is it's good for the employers, which means it's good for the region. Everybody wins.
I asked you what the difference has been like from year 1 to year 24. What do you think one thing is, though, that stayed the same?
Oh, boy. Energy and focus on the students more than anything else.
What would be your advice or word to students who don't know anything about Grand Valley State University?
If you're looking for a university that really focuses on the students, that has incredible facilities and faculty that are just second to none, and you'd like to do it at a reasonable cost, we are one of the lowest cost universities, not just in Michigan, but in the Midwest. It's a great place to consider.
I do have a lot of friends that graduated from here, and they all have great things to say. I went out of state, and I know. My parents are like, you couldn't have went to in-state, but anyway.
Well, the average student at Grand Valley only pays about $7,000 a year.
Incredible. And then all the scholarships that are available through FIRST as well. I'm sure knock that down.
Yep. Our programs include FIRST scholarships, but also many of our corporate partners sponsor scholarships. We grant just for engineering students about $250,000 a year in scholarships.
Wow.
And then you put on top of that, all of our students do cooperative education where they get paid. They earn more in their last 2 years than they spend on tuition. You can't contain costs more. Of course, the most important thing isn't the money, it's the experience.
It is, and the education.
And the preparation that FIRST gives the students for programs like ours is second to none. I am fortunate to be able to grant a lot of scholarships. Many of those students, they get into engineering not knowing what it is, and after a couple of years, it's, well, this wasn't really for me. Every student we've ever granted a FIRST scholarship has graduated from Grand Valley in engineering. They came in knowing what they're talking about.
They know what they want.
Exactly.
Paul, thank you so much for sitting here with us again. Always a joy to talk to you.
Yep.
Have fun for the rest of the day.
Thank you.
We are going to send it back upstairs.
All right, Kaylee, excuse me, thank you. Yes, the great tradition here, the great commitment that Grand Valley State's to FIRST in Michigan Robotics. This is kind of an annual stop for us on the yearly robotics tour, and they roll out the red carpet for us every year, and they are just perfectly suited to help this organization.
Yeah, for sure. I think this is the longest running event in the state of Michigan. We had one, I think, at Eastern Michigan that happened beforehand, but we have since stopped going to Eastern Michigan. They hosted our state championship for a couple of years. We outgrew them. And now, of course, in 2 weeks, we'll be at Saginaw Valley State, the Ryder Center. Yeah, we get some shots here of the Grand Valley robot in 3 days. So one of the things that's happened over the years is there's been a push to have more information available to teams to help them build robots. And I can't remember how many years ago it was, but a few years ago now, a group of people got together and said, hey, wouldn't it be fun if we built an entire robot in 3 days? And so that was the original RI3D, or Robot in 3 Days. And
Somebody thought that would be a fun idea?
They did, yes.
Okay.
So they made some videos of their process. They tried to document, show their prototypes off. And teams were able to then learn from that. So they could see, oh, they tried to pick up the game piece this way, and it worked great for them. Let's experiment with that. And that has since grown to a number of places having one, including, of course, the one that we are looking at pictures of here at Grand Valley State. And all of these Robot in 3 Days teams are still kind of sticking to that original mission of getting information and sharing it with the community to help teams be more successful or build faster or learn more about what they're trying to do.
Lots of activity for sure. We got about a minute and a half before we get into our next match. This will be match 13, and it will pit the second and third alliances against each other.
And we have seen this before.
Yes, a repeat.
I think they played together. Let's see if we can find it here. In round 2 in the upper bracket, we saw Alliance 2 versus Alliance 3. So rematch here in round 5. Looks like our still alive alliances are 1, 2, and 3. So no lasting upsets. We saw a couple 8 beat 4. That was a pretty big upset. But down here in the lower bracket finals, it's just 2 and 3 to find out who's going to face 1 in the finals.
So the cream is definitely rising to the top as the lower seeded alliances are slowly getting eliminated from competition today here in Allendale.
Yep, and I guess let's go back to that matchup. That would have been match 8. Round 2, upper bracket, Alliance 2 versus Alliance 3. Alliance 2 won that matchup with 187 points to 165. Which I think is almost, but not quite our highest combined score. I think that 213-point match we saw is the highest combined score.
But still probably no fear in either team or neither alliance or the other.
Yeah, 187, 165, that was a pretty big...
Pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it ended up being comfortable, but that match was close throughout. Alliance 2 averaging 178 points, Alliance 3 averaging 152.
You know, even if you have 165 points in a losing effort, you know you're still pretty good.
Yeah, and here we are back at that matchup. Again, the Coral points were the big difference there. We saw Alliance 2 really, I think they had a big lead in autonomous mode and then continued to add to that. Barge points, both of these alliances capable of going up, putting the algae in the net, and both these alliances capable of having 2 robots with a deep climb for 12 points apiece. So we're going to see basically close everywhere. I think auto mode is going to be the key. We need to see Alliance 3 come out and hit all of their auto modes because we've seen what Alliance 2 can do. Alliance 2, I think, has a chance of scoring 7 in auto mode on that top row, level 4, and that's even more than the 6 of Alliance number 1.
Let's meet our teams. Excuse me. Let's meet our teams for this 13th match, our 3rd round. The Grand Haven Buccaneers, Kalamazoo Central Robotics, and the Hamilton Cyberhawks. They are the Blue Alliance. And Red Alliance here, Matawan, the Hopkins Tech Vikes, and the Greensville Senior Robo Jackets. Thumbs are up, and drivers are ready to turn their machines loose. We are into the autonomous 15-second period.
All right, notably a miss by Red in auto mode, and 2 more misses by Blue. Meanwhile, Tech Vikes drops their last shot, so they're not going to get a 4th chance, but still 5. It looks like for Red. There is one piece of coral that is not traditionally scored. It is kind of just leaning there. I can't tell what it's scored on, but I think they still get credit for that as long as it is just supported by the reef. Yeah, it looks like it slid down, so it went on that first spot and slid down farther than it's supposed to go.
Red Alliance busting out big. 66 points. Now they bump it over 70. And we got a dead Red Alliance machine.
Yep,
7210 is not moving.
Are not moving. I think the robot signal light is on, so they might be able to come back. They did lose radio connection to the field. So best case scenario for them is this is a reboot. It's going to take about a minute, and then they'll be back in action. Worst case scenario, they could be out for the whole match.
And there is a lot of time left to see what this Blue Alliance can do to make inroads on that big lead. Now they're back up and running, 72-10.
And down again.
Okay, well, that was quick. There was a nice 2 seconds.
Yep. So something came loose. I think they had a high speed impact when they were crossing over to play defense. They were going through the barge zone, and those hanging cages can be very, very dangerous for teams. And as soon as they started driving, as soon as they rebooted and reconnected, they started driving. They lost power again. They are going through another reboot.
We think it's a radio connection issue.
Yeah. I think they lost power to the radio, which means in about a minute they'll get another chance to move, but it might not last long. So this is going to be a 2v3 for all intents and purposes.
And still holding on to that lead. That is precarious. We'll see if the Blue Alliance can make a late push.
Got a penalty on Red. That's going to close the score a little bit.
Still that 72-10 machine, the Robo Jackets, has been idle for way too long. Here's a Red Alliance and Blue Alliance hanging in the barge zone.
And I think 72-10 just got another penalty. You're not allowed to contact teams when they're in that protected zone around the reef. Doesn't matter who initiates contact. So the dead robot, 72-10, a little too close to that zone. When 35-46 came around, I think they hit them. They're going to get, I think, 6 points for that. 2 hanging robots on either side. It's very close. I think Red was ahead by a few points on the scoreboard. Endgame looks even, but we had that last second penalty as well.
Yeah, this could be very problematic. Losing the robot by itself, not necessarily something you can't overcome, but we'll see how things shake down here as the numbers are tabulated.
And it's sort of like not the first error that gets them, but the second maybe. We saw some misses in auto mode by this Red Alliance, leaving a few points on the board and then losing the robot, but they did execute very well. They scored against the defender. Now we saw 61-14, one of our top defenders of this tournament over there, but both the Tech Vikes and the Wildcats were able to get around them pretty well and still rack up a pretty high score. Presumably with the 24 barge points here for the hangs at the end, we could see something in the high 160s out of Red. And blue, with their 24 points, I mean, they could be really close to 160 as well. We can see the team is out there, the field crew is out there. They're trying to figure out what happened to 72.
We have a Red Alliance win. Oh boy, is it close.
There it is. Woo! So they just barely managed to hold on despite losing one of their robots.
Oh, and I feel like for the Blue Alliance, that's one of those things where you do not go home happy knowing that you kind of had an open window there to really do some things, and then you just couldn't do it.
Yeah, they matched their high score of this tournament with another 165. Just 3 points in it. And it'll be interesting to see what the foul points look like. I know Red committed at least one penalty, but one penalty on the blue side would have been enough for them to, well, one major penalty would have been enough for them to win the match. Wow, 165, 168. Both of those numbers would have been almost our highest score last week. So you can just see how that progression goes. Each week it's going to get a little bit harder and a little bit harder.
Yeah, the higher you climb on the ladder, the higher you climb towards the top of the mountain, the air gets thinner and it gets tougher. So we will try to get some deeper detail on how this 13th round played out. Let's go downstairs and bring in Kaylee with some insight. Kaylee?
Hey guys, I'm here with Ava from the Red Alliance. Ava, trouble with one of the robots. Tell me what happened.
I don't really know what happened. They died on the opposite side of the field, but I don't know how they disconnected.
Do you think it's something that you guys are going to obviously need to address before going into finals?
Yes, we'll definitely take a look at their robot before going into the finals.
Okay. Well, good luck going into finals. We wish you the best. We are going to send it back upstairs.
All right, Kaylee, thank you. We have another awards ceremony coming, and we will head downstairs and rejoin Doug and start that process right now.
All right. I am looking for a young man. His name is Harrison Everett Selowitz. I have your wallet. You apparently dropped it. Good thing you got an ID in there, so you're going to want to collect that down here by the judges' table. Or scoring table, excuse me. All right, the Autonomous Award celebrates the team that has demonstrated consistent, reliable, high-performance robot operation during autonomously managed action. Evaluation is based on the robot's ability to sense its surroundings, position itself or onboard mechanisms appropriately, and execute tasks. This team is a real bright spot in their sea. Their code carries the load to win the mode. Keep your eye on this zippy yellow fish as it strikes fast in autumn. Congratulations, 2767, that's Strike Force. The Creativity Award, sponsored by Rockwell Automation, celebrates creativity that enhances strategy of play and was intentionally designed and not discovered. This team didn't have to raid other designs to come up with an innovative manipulator, but with such a heavy mechanism, they couldn't afford to be lacking in power. These pioneering warriors 3D printed their own 83-to-1 gearbox to deliver plenty of torque. their robot's trademark Ferris wheel tacks from placing coral to clearing algae, sailing to victory. Congratulations, 2054, the Tech Bikes. All right. The Quality Award celebrates machine robustness in concept and fabrication. Building a robot is only part of their success, and the judges recognize them as a quality example to others. This team has demonstrated a robust quality assurance program. Like the three sides of a triangle, this team's three-stage release, approval, and revision process creates a strong foundation for success. Their technical drawing binder and component numbering scheme has earned the judges' stamp of approval. That's 4003, the Trisonic. The Industrial Design Award, sponsored by General Motors, celebrates the team that demonstrates industrial design principles, striking a balance between form, function, and aesthetics. Long story short, the looks on this team's robot sent the judges into orbit with its stellar, comprehensive design. With magnificent blazes of orange, this robot streaks in from the forest. It's 3357, the Comet!
All right, some good awards passed out downstairs. And earlier today, Kaylee Marentet speaking with Addison, a standout female driver from Forest Hills Robotics. And she talks about the opportunities that FIRST creates for young women.
Hey guys, I'm here with Addison from 3357. Addison, thanks for joining us here today.
Of course.
So Addison is a senior at Forest Hills. You are a driver for your team. Talk about that, your role as a senior and being a driver.
Yeah, so this year especially, I've really upped my involvement within the team. I was fortunate enough to win our driver tryouts, which within our team is very competitive. There's a lot of students that want to be the driver, and I was fortunate enough to be picked this year. And I'm also, of course, a senior team captain, electrical lead, so I'm in charge of making sure the robot is functioning. All of our controls components are 100% going in every match. And it's just been a lot of time coming in early to practice, spending hours after meetings are over to come and practice and keep the robot fully functional 100% of the time.
What has your time been like in FIRST?
It's been good. I've done all 4 years of high school as a freshman. I knew about the team because in 2016, my older brother, who graduated in 2016, was the driver for Comets as well. So back then, when I was still in elementary school, I was coming to all the events.
Oh, man.
And that's how I kind of found out about what FIRST was, and I realized that was something I wanted to do once I was old enough. So I joined as a freshman, and throughout the 4 years, I've worked my way up from junior lead to team captain and now driver.
So your guys' team has faced some obstacles this year. Talk about what that's been like so far for you this year.
Yeah, so we unfortunately lost our build space that we had been given to us so graciously by Amway. They needed the space back in their warehouse, so we had to move out. Through that, we lost our field and spent months moving out, packing up, and then moving into a new build space at one of the middle schools in our district. And we have about a similar amount of space, but it really hurt us in the time that we lost training new students, that we instead spent moving things, setting up the new build space, and tearing down everything else.
What has that done for your guys'? I would imagine that's hurt your guys' and how you're playing on the field this year, right?
It definitely has hurt us a little bit. We're performing a little under how we would have liked to this year because we've leaned so heavily on our seniors who have had the experience and have been putting more and more workload onto our seniors, lesser than we would, or more than we would like to, because our freshmen didn't get the training they would have needed or would have had we not lost our build space. But like, we're working through it. We've stepped up a game a lot since our week 1 event, and I feel pretty confident about the rest of the season.
Forest Hills, historically, you guys have gone to State's, really strong team. State's is coming up in 2 weeks. Does that path look a little bit murky for you guys, or how do you think you guys are going to get there?
It definitely looks a little bit murky. We fortunately have been able to go to States every year since 2016, sorry. And because of our time lost over the summer, that has cascaded into the season, and we were unfortunately falling short at our week 1 event where we would have liked to, usually we're pretty comfortable winning our week 1 events. Unfortunately, we ranked lower than we wanted to. We didn't win, so we didn't come out with as many district points as we would have liked to. So we're really pushing this weekend to get those district points to make up the 60 or 70 that you need to get to States.
I mean, that's a lot of pressure, I feel like, on you, especially as a senior and a driver.
Yeah.
How do you handle that pressure?
Honestly, so this weekend, we were unfortunately given a pretty terrible schedule. It happens, it's random. So myself and our operator, we were told we haven't looked at the schedule once. We open up the strategy sheet and we see what we need to do by our strategy mentor, and we just drive our match, and that's all we focus on. Luckily, our pit crew and our pit boss and our technician have been very helpful getting everything done technically wise in the pit, making sure that the drivers have nothing else to do other than to drive their match.
Addison, it sounds like your team is lucky to have you as a senior and a driver and a leader for the team. Well, good luck for this weekend. We're hoping we see you at State. Stan and Dan, we're going to send it back to you guys.
Okay, Kaylee, thank you. Always great to hear from the young men and women who are impacted in such a positive way by First and Michigan Robotics. And there's the parents that, help position their kids in the right path, and then off they go. Obviously, we are just on the cusp of the main event in Michigan high school robotics. That is coming the first weekend in April at Saginaw Valley State. And it is the biggest robotics event outside of Worlds.
That it is, yeah. I think about 500 teams in the state of Michigan. We play for 5 weeks, 5 or 6 events a week, district events a week, and we narrow those teams down to the top 160 teams in the state, and they will be there at the Michigan State Championship April 3rd to 5th. We'll be there too.
Good stuff is coming, so we'll continue to ramp up for that and keep things moving as we also take now a moment to hear from one of our sponsors, Aptiv. They are transforming mobility with innovative computing and intelligent vehicle design, turning travel from a simple journey into an advanced experience.
How do you change the way the world moves? Change course. Aptiv is engineering the brain and the nervous system to bring the future of mobility to life with advanced computing platforms and smart vehicle architecture, taking you from point A to point B and every point in between. We are Aptiv, and we're moving mobility forward.
Welcome back to the GVSU Fieldhouse Arena. This is the West Michigan District event with all kinds of props and different things here in the Fieldhouse. And we have a notification of a substitute robot coming in.
Yep, so each alliance is allowed to use what we call the backup bot coupon. You can replace one robot in your alliance one time during the tournament, and that robot then is a permanent replacement. So it looks like we're going to be replacing Team 7210, the Robo Jackets from Greenville Senior High School, with Team 7248, that is the Tactical Hams. So this is going to be an extra kind of challenge for the number 2 alliance. They kind of had something, you know, they had that rapport going. They had everybody had their roles, and now they got to bring in a new robot and figure everything out in not a lot of time.
So bad timing, but make do.
Yeah. And
what do we know about the Potter's House robot?
Well, first, let me say 7210 then. That was the robot we watched that died, came back for 3 seconds, and then died again in the last match.
Right.
It looks like whatever the wiring issue is, or whatever the issue is, they were not able to find the problem in time. Of course, they only had, what, 10 minutes to figure that out. The replacement robot, Tactical Hams, they take a look at their...
Sorry for putting you on the spot.
Set up here. I was not
that sorry,
ready.
but,
yeah, you're not sorry at all. But sorry, they were our 16th seed here.
Okay.
Did not get picked on one of the initial alliances, so you won't pick in order, right? So we play those 80 matches, rank the teams 1 through 40, but teams will often pick who you wouldn't expect. So usually the top 10 or 15 go pretty quickly, but then you might see teams getting picked that are like 30th or 35th because their robot might have been broken for a while and now it's fixed, or they might do exactly what the alliance needs, even though that didn't lend itself to winning matches in the qualification rounds. So the backup bot is going to be the highest seeded team left, and that is rank 16, the Tactical Hams. They, let's see here, they were...
So there are some limits as to who you can pick.
Yeah, you actually don't get to pick it all. You just get the next team up.
Okay.
And that's kind of you're stuck with them.
Okay.
That said, we saw 7210 playing a lot of defense. So, that's something that they're going to have to talk to them about doing. The other big thing that they're going to have to, figure out is in auto mode, right? Everybody has a specific starting spot. So they got to make sure that, the Tactical Hams have an auto mode that can start in that same spot that the 7210 robot was in. And that, luckily for them, is the lined up straight on the reef, drive straight forward and score one position. So there's a good chance that they do have that auto mode.
So a new wrinkle coming into play here with the Potter's House Tactical Hams machine being part of this alliance. Are they given any more time to, I don't know, calibrate, sync, or is it just kind of hurry up and go?
Not really. There is a deadline. From the end of the previous match, you have a certain amount of time with which you can use that backup coupon. If you wait too long, you can't use it anymore, and you're stuck with who you've got. Once you use the backup coupon, usually the head ref is going to go over. They're going to start checking in with the team. Obviously, this team was not prepared to play, not expecting to play. They just got called up. So it's not like they get 30 seconds to get on the field and we're going to go.
Hurry up and go, right.
They're going to get a reasonable amount of time to get their robot on the field, get it set up, get it, prepped for the match, new battery in, all of those sorts of things. So we will see how that goes. I'm trying to look down and see if the robot is, out or moving towards the field, and I can't see that right now at all. So So they might be back in their pit rushing to get everything set up and ready to come out here.
And you have to figure this adds anxiety to this whole experience right now.
Yeah, for sure. The Blue Alliance, right? Brand new robot. They have not choreographed their initial steps with them. So you got to kind of try to be doing that. And you got to be doing that while this team is like changing their mindset from spectator to competitor as they get their robots to come out on the field.
Well, I'm sorry, go ahead. We talk about teams that are ready to jump in. Michigan has a boatload of teams. We're always on top of this number for you from year to year. California, Michigan almost a 2-to-1 advantage.
530 is crazy.
Wow. That is wild. And when you go to Worlds, Worlds at the end of April this year, or May?
Yeah, yep. It's end of April, I believe.
Okay. Amazing. So we know there is a new robot that will be part of this next competition, and it's the Potter's House Tactical Hands robot. 7248 is the robot number. Let's get some insight as to their mindset right now as we join Kaylee downstairs.
Hey guys, Jackson is here with me from 7248. You guys kind of get called up last minute in the finals. How are you feeling right now?
A little bit nervous, but I definitely feel like we can make a big effort to it.
Did you guys have to make any adjustments, or tell me what was happening in the pit before you guys came out here? Or are you guys still getting ready to come out here?
We're still in the process, and really back in the pit, it was just trying to get everything organized, trying to get everything together, but we're here and we're ready to go.
Why do you think you guys got called up? What do you think is your guys' strength that you're going to bring into this game?
Probably the quickness of algae that we have, and the wider robot gives for a good option for defense.
How hard of an adjustment do you think that is coming into an alliance, not even just in a game, let alone the championship?
It's a pretty big change. It definitely gives a lot of weight down, and it will definitely wear down on some of our allies.
All right. Well, congratulations on getting called up, and good luck to you, Jackson. Dan and Dan, we're going to send it back up to you.
Yeah. Hey, Kaylee. I was wondering, too, before you let him get too far away.
Wait 1 second. We got a question from Dan. Dan, what's your question?
Do they have a specified role yet? Do they know if they're going to be playing some defense or offense?
So the question from Dan is, do you guys have a specified role yet? Do you guys know if you're going to be playing defense or offense yet?
I think we're going to do a little bit of offense and mostly defense.
And then we try to crush them.
Dan, any more questions from you?
All right. No, that answers my question.
All right. Thanks, Jackson. Dan and Dan?
All right. Thanks, folks. Good work in the pits. And he said mostly defense, a little offense.
Yep, I dug in a little bit while we were getting that interview and watching some of our sponsor messages. So 7248 in their last match ran this auto mode. So they're going right into where they're used to going. That's not going to be a big adjustment for them. They're going to try to drop the one coral piece on the shelf. So the lower score, but still score and stay out of the way of their partner's way. And the other thing that they bring to this alliance that they didn't have before is in their matches, they have been taking the algae and scoring it in the processor on the side. Now, that's only going to be a net of 2 points, right? You get 6 for putting it in. The other team gets the ball. They'll put it in the net for 4. So you'll gain 2 points there. But that is something they can do, especially if there's a lot of algae that starts collecting in that area where they can maybe get some quick scores. But it does sound like, and I think it's the right decision, they're going to be spending a lot of time on the other side of the field playing defense. It's just because this #1 alliance scores so many points, you got to slow them down somehow.
Yeah. All right. They are introducing the teams that will compete to win the event here. Here's the Blue Alliance, Madawan, Hopkins, and the new ad, Potter House. Coming in for the Robo Jackets robot that is mechanically unsound. And now the Alliance #1, Kalamazoo County Strike Force, the Astrobots from Kelloggsville, and the Canton Lightning Robotics.
Can take you back through the history of their scores here. #1 Alliance scored 185, 193, and 213 points in their 3 matches so far. That gives them an average of 197. Our number 2 alliance scored 168, 172, 177, and 187 for an average of only 176. So we're looking at about a 20-point difference in average scores here. But there is some overlap. The lowest score by number 1 is lower than the highest score for our number 2 alliance.
An average score of only 176.
Only 176.
Yes.
That would have
rare air
swept
for a
tournaments
lot of teams.
last year or last week, and probably would be winning a lot of tournaments this week as well. Again, we should kind of choose which events to go to based on where we think there are a lot of good teams, where we could have maybe the best competition. And this Grand Valley State event tends to attract a lot of teams.
Okay, looks like they're fixing the connection issue with 7248, so that's been addressed.
I do see the green light. It means all the robots are connected to the field.
Excellent.
And nobody seems to be working on anything anymore, so I think we're just about ready to go here.
Wow, nobody thinks the red alliance. How about the blue?
Hey, take that back. 5675 just turned their robot off and turned it back on. So at least 1 minute for that robot to reboot. I think they had a problem in the last match. They had an issue in the last match as well, and I think they were rebooting, trying to get the camera to come up. We had that that was our longest delay where they were messing with stuff there. So it looks like that problem maybe is persisting, as it's the same team here. Yep, everybody's gathering around.
Yeah, this is what they call a hard launch. Getting this off the ground. With the robot switch.
Yep,
but
new
again,
robot looks good to go. Looks like there's some friendly discussion there between the field crew and the team. And we should be just a few seconds away from, I think they're reconnected, so.
862, the Lightning Robotics robot named Nautilus from Canton High School, Salem High School, and Plymouth High School. So they made the long drive over 96.
Yep. That's a huge team, and they like to kind of travel, mix up their seasons, experience different regions here. All right, I think the robot's ready. Autonomous mode, here's what I want to watch. I want to watch 862 in red. They have missed their first coral in the last 2 matches, I believe. And at the same time, in blue, 2054, if everything goes right, can score 4, which is more than anybody else on the field. So keep an eye on those 2 robots.
And we're in autonomous mode for 15 seconds.
862 does hit their first one.
Blue Alliance, a little bit of a slow start.
And we'll see, 2054 here with number 4, and they hit all 4. Wow. 7-6. That is advantage blue. We see those scores are not updated quite yet.
But, okay,
blue is ahead after auto mode, but it's very close. It's just about tied right now.
Yeah, don't be there we go. Nice correction there. And we got 2 heavyweights going toe-to-toe right now.
Yeah, we'll see. And they both are making use of those extra scores up high. 7248, our new robot, so far doing a pretty good job playing defense.
Yeah, we could see the efficiency of the 2 offensive-oriented Blue Alliance robots. Coral is flying right up onto the reef zone to get points.
Yep, level 4 done on both sides. They finished the top row.
And points for Algae in the net for both teams, more so for the Red Alliance.
Yeah, Blue may need to answer back on that in a little bit. As we see another 2767 just being so efficient on red, just grabbing the ball and placing a coral more or less at the same time. And 7248 has been caught a little bit in no man's land here. One of the things you have to do, you have to be careful. Some of these robots are fast, and if you chase them too much, they'll just get around you if you give them that space. But if you stay close to the loading zone, you can be more effective. They also are going to get 2 penalties for hitting robots inside the protected zone around the reef.
Penalty points can be very meaningful.
Yeah, and on the back of those 2 penalties, Red is now jumping out to a sizable lead, 30 points almost.
Yeah, we're getting close to crunch time, and some of these machines will move into the barge zone to hang and get extra points. But wow, this has been a points-a-palooza.
Yep, and Red, don't forget, #1 Alliance does have the advantage in endgame. They've already sent 1 robot trying to get that climb.
Blue Alliance is going to hang 72-48. Potter's House getting some air.
There goes all 3.
All 3, and there's a piece of algae in the way.
56-75 maybe went too late.
Wow.
They're not going to get up. It looks like 3 up for Red.
And 2 up for Blue.
Yeah, and 72-48's bumper might be
still
touching.
be on the ground, yeah.
But that's another thing that I did not tell you in the scouting report on 72-48, but they are capable of climbing, which does equalize this endgame potential. But I think what happened here is the #2 Alliance knew they were down a little bit, stayed outscoring too late, and did not have enough time for those climbs at the end.
Let's go to autonomous mode here. Blue Alliance first, working with that new robot.
Far side of the field, 2054. Watch them. They're going to be the best autonomous robot here as they get 1, 2, 3, and they're actually going to get back with this 4th. Meanwhile, on the front side, 56-75 does get their 3 of 3 as well. So that's 7 on the top row for Blue. On Red, 862 has had some issues with that first one, manages to get it to stick. On the far side, we have 2767 also nailing all of theirs, and both of these robots are going to go 3 for 3, so 6 on Red, 7 on Blue. That was probably the best executed autonomous mode that we have seen this elimination rounds.
Big points for the Red Alliance. We'll get the winning announcement here in just a moment. They're, of course, tabulating some points, and some penalty points, as Dan indicated, could be in play. But we do know it is a Red Alliance win.
Yeah, and big endgame score, I think, coming up here, those barge points.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to lead to a big overall score. Wow.
222.
Yep.
A 50-point win. Tyler with the winning Red Alliance is with Kaylee Marentet.
Tyler, a heck of a score to start off the championship there. I will say, I think everyone was not impressed with the autonomous mode, how many points you guys were able to rack up. What did you guys change to be able to get that?
Yeah, so a few matches ago, we noticed that there was a big bubble in the carpet right behind the reef there, and we just went to the field techs and said, hey, would you guys be willing to do something about this? So they were able to cut the carpet and then sew it together to get rid of that sort of bubble back there.
What is going to be your mentality going into this next one?
Just play our game. I mean, we beat them there doing what we do.
All right, congratulations, Tyler.
Thank you.
Dan and Dan, we're going to send it back up to you.
Thank you.
That does explain some of the changes we've seen. We've seen Red's autonomous, #1 Alliances, I should say, autonomous being a little spotty, but they've always been Red, and if Red side had that field bubble on the carpet, which I did see before I came up here, so that was kind of there at the end of our qual matches. That would explain the turnaround.
Okay. Lily with the Blue Alliance. Lilia with the Blue Alliance, standing by with Kaylee.
Lilia is here with me. Lilia, I have to ask, you guys had a last-minute change. Another team come in. What happened to that first spot that required you guys to switch it out?
Yeah, so they were having some issues with, as you could see in our, I think it was match 13. They went out. It was just kind of getting a little unreliable. They were having some battery connection issues, some Rio issues, so we made the last-minute decision to switch out and make kind of sacrifice a few things, but we think we made the right decision.
Not the first result that you want, not the result you wanted out of the first match. What are you guys got some time to go back and switch things around and switch strategy. What are you guys thinking right now you're going to switch up?
So we're thinking about focusing more on algae. Our team is one of the ones in our alliance who can really consistently get it in the net, and so we're going to kind of focus on that first and then score coral to try and get more points in that area.
All right, thank you, and good luck in the next match. Dan and Dan?
Thank you, Kaylee, and thank you, Lilia B. Here's the scoreboard. 12 penalty points. Not that meaningful, you know.
Didn't change anything.
But the coral points, a draw. It's the algae and the barge.
Yep,
Yeah.
and so algae, which is what she was just talking about in the interview, I completely agree. Here's what's happening. They're filling all of level 4. Those are worth 5 points. They're filling all of level 3. Both sides completely full. Those are the 4-pointers. they've been moving down to score level 2 scores. Those are only worth 3 points. Algae in the top is worth 4. So exactly what she said is what they have to do.
Yeah.
They have to get that algae score going, because if they're going to fill the top 2 rows, level 4 and level 3, algae is the next best point for scoring. Now, the barge points, they're down in barge points, but they do have the ability to match that 36. They got to make sure that their new robot, 7248, goes to hang a little bit earlier so they can get their points. And 5675 stayed out scoring late because they knew they were behind. They've also got to go just a little bit earlier to secure the points there.
Let's begin our awards ceremony and go downstairs and join PA announcer Doug.
With their friend Bob allowed them to gain valuable practice in their off-season from the comfort of their own homes. From their use of singletons to their very variable-ized autonomous routines, this team is wired to keep getting better. Welcome, 5675, the Wired Cats. The Excellence in Engineering Award celebrates the team that demonstrates a professional approach to the design process and whose design is elegant and advantageous on the field of play. This team actuated disciplined engineering from research through detailed design. Through their 3F mantra, they iterated persistently to achieve excellence. Sparks fly with this robot's current crush. That's 6002 Zoobotics. The Team Sustainability Award, sponsored by Dow, celebrates and recognizes a team which has developed sustainable practices to have environmental impact and achieve long-term continuity. This growing team has doubled in size and taken steps to make sure they don't butt heads. This herd makes efforts to connect to their community, help the environment, and fund their team. Thanks to their sustainability plan, this team is sure to grow their guppies into fish to defend their reef. That team is 6548 Perry Rimbot. Here, I thought this guy was bringing cake up to our judges. the Judges Award. During the course of a competition, the judging panel may decide that a team's unique efforts, performance, or dynamics merit recognition, yet they do not fit into any existing award categories. The awards deemed this award the Curator Award. This team impressed the judges with their creative historical documentation. Over their storied past, this team has hustled towards great achievement. By analyzing past designs, they've given themselves plenty of opportunity for success. From Vern to Stacy, these proud parents have curated a museum of past robots to draw inspiration. That team is 74, it's Chaos!
All right, they'll wrap up the Judges Awards ceremony in a little bit, but we're going to step back here and give you an overview of where all the robotics teams here in Michigan are spaced. And again, 530 teams in the 15 different counties. So, again, we love football. But there's a little bit more robotics going on in football. Only 3 counties without a robotics team. You can see them in the pink there in the small, upper, mid, lower peninsula. Did I even say that right?
Yeah, close enough.
Close enough. Somewhere in the lower peninsula. All right. That covers that. And earlier today, Kaylee Marentet meeting with Jay Call, a first alum and a social media advocate. He tells us how he is inspiring the next generation of makers and innovators.
I am sitting here with Jay Call. He is a judge for FIRST. Thanks for sitting here with me today.
It's great to be here. It's great to be part of this organization.
So this is a big year for you. This is your 20th year.
20th year.
How does that feel to say?
It's exciting because it's been such a journey for me. I started off in high school 2005 as a student and then helped transition through all the programs from being a coach for First Lega League, First Tech Challenge, being a FRC coach, and then mentor and judge. It's been great to see the entire depth of how you can volunteer for an organization like this.
What do you think has been your favorite stage of that? You just talked about a lot of different steps that you've taken.
Man. It's so hard to pick one because for me, being a member helps set my career and going into engineering as one. The other part that's really exciting is when I was a judge or a coach for First Lega League, those students that I was teaching in 2007, 2008, 2009 graduated from high school, graduated from college. They went out and they got professional jobs. Some of them work at NASA now. So seeing this transformation of being a person who's investing in a young kid who's in 5th and 6th grade, and now they have a professional, career ahead of them, and they can still point back to FIRST as how that set them up. It's such a highlight.
And that you were a part of that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talk about the transition from playing on the field to being behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's one of those things for me is I look at it as FIRST changed the way I viewed engineering and manufacturing. When I went in, I was part of FIRST starting in 2005. I learned it was much more than just robots. I was able to go out there and we had a marketing team and a fundraising team and working with sponsorships and creating leadership. So going out there, it's beyond just building a robot. robots. It's building a professional career that you can grow on. So the success that I've had from being a part of the organization, I want to say, hey, it affected me. I know it can affect these hundreds and thousands of other students who are right behind us right now to set them up for success.
So you are from a manufacturing background,
Yes.
or you're in manufacturing. How does FIRST in manufacturing kind of tie together?
Yeah, absolutely. So manufacturing right now has a massive skill problem right now. We have about 650,000 unfulfilled jobs in manufacturing across the United States. So in manufacturing, the GDP of manufacturing for the United States would be the 7th largest country in the world. It's that impactful. But when we aren't making products because we don't have the right people, it's not allowing us to grow as a company, as an organization. And so getting this generation behind us, excited about the industry, is what matters. Because right now, manufacturing is viewed as this dark, dirty, dull, dangerous industry where we heard for many years from our parents saying all these jobs went overseas.
Yes.
But now what's happening in manufacturing is we're having robotics, we're having automation, it's becoming more digital, there's AI being integrated. The only way that we can have kids understand what's happening now is being a part of these organizations and saying, hey, you're in high school, you can learn how to build a robot, you can learn how to program, you can learn how to design in CAD. Now you can take those skill sets that you learned here and get a job with it that's going to be very successful for you for decades to come.
So I think the saying here is like, the robots are building kids,
Yes.
not the kids are building robots. Do
100%.
Do you see that?
100%. You know, FIRST is way more than a robot. It's about kids discovering themselves and how they can be leaders, how they can overcome, you know, things where they're shy or where we're part of. I'm a judge for the Impact Award in the Dean's List. And one of my favorite stories that I always hear from students is saying, I came into FIRST struggling with X, Y, Z, and then through FIRST, I overcame XYZ through my team members, through my mentorships, through my judges, from going to these competitions and finding people who are just like me, who I can relate to, and then grow with. So it's a great way for so many people to become leaders through this organization.
We are happy to have you as part of the FIRST family.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for your time and your 20 years with FIRST. It's great to be sitting next to you, and thanks for your time
Thanks
today.
so much.
Dan and Dan?
Let's thank our sponsors, DTE Foundation, Consumers Energy Foundation, Aptiv Foundation, Hemlock Semiconductor, and Magna. And we have about a minute left before we get to our next match. And we are really getting down to crunch time here.
Yep, Alliance number 1 up 1-0 now, thanks to the last win. So if they win this next match, they are our champions.
Yep.
Alliance
Best 2
number
or 3, yeah.
Yep. Talked about Alliance number 2, a couple things they need to do a little bit better this match. First thing, they've got to hit the same auto mode. They did 7 on Tier 4, Level 4 in auto mode. They've got to do that again. They've got to set themselves up to be even or a little ahead coming out of auto mode. And then we're going to look to 2054 to spend a little bit more time scoring the algae, scoring that the balls up in the net to kind of match. 2767 did it a bunch, and even 862 is scoring a few for the number 1 Alliance in red.
So just to clarify, are you suggesting that the Blue Alliance, are they chasing more offense, or are they trying to play more better defense, or both?
I think they have to take both paths forward. We talked about the difference between a level 2 score being only worth 3 points and the algae score in the net being worth 4. They've got to do some of that to get some points back. We had, I think 2 major penalties against Team 7248, the Tactical Hams, the brand new team that was cold that got asked to play defense right off the bat. They've got to be more careful about the zone, the reef zone, because that is protected. If you hit somebody in there, that's a 6-point penalty. And I think on defense, too, they got a little deep. If you start chasing teams out this year, you get close to that reef zone and you set yourself up to take some of those penalties. Also, if you come out too far, you can't hit them when they're scoring, and if you don't stop them when they go to load, it's going to be a problem. So the most effective defense I've seen so far this year is either blocking them out of one of the human loading stations or waiting until they get in and then trapping them inside the human loading station. Of course, there is a pinning rule. If you pin a robot, you can only do that for 3 seconds, at which point you have to back off. But if you think about it, if you could pin somebody for 3 seconds every time they loaded a coral, like by the end of the match, that's going to add up to several scores. So that's okay. That's good enough. And, of course, the barge points at the end. It looks like the new Blue Alliance with tactical hams can do 3 deep climbs. We know the Red Alliance can do it. They did it last match, and they've done it before. So our number 2 Alliance in blue is also going to have to try to match them with 3 deep climbs for 36 endgame points.
So a Red Alliance win ends the event. A Blue Alliance win means we go to a winner-take-all final match.
Yep, and it's sort of like, unfortunately, it's not one of those things has to change for the Blue Alliance. They have to do almost all
both.
3
Yeah.
of the things that we said in order to close that gap. Because that last match, I mean, they scored 172 points, which is excellent, but they were up against 222. So they've got to make up 50 points somewhere, right? So 12 points from the penalties, another 20 points from the hang at the end, and then you still got to get another.
Your defense has to take some of that 222 off the board. Yeah.
Convert some of the level 1 and level 2 scores into algae in the net, and now all of a sudden we're there.
And if you're the Red Alliance, you're not really thinking, you don't outthink what you're doing. You're like, well, whatever we're going to do, they're going to have to stop. So good luck with that.
Yeah, and they have a match kind of to play with, right? So you do the same thing. If they do find a way to stop it, you can go back and say, okay, now do we want to change? But there's no reason for them to do anything differently in this match. See if that 5675 robot looks like it might not need a restart this time. Oh, I spoke too soon again. They're the last robot we're waiting to connect to the field.
So they got to juice that thing up. That's the Wired Cats Catalyst robot from Mattawan High School.
It looks like they were having some issue. I think it was with the camera that had caused them to restart the robot a few times in earlier matches. In this one, it looks like it might have come up okay. Yeah. You got kind of a nod from the drivers down there.
So one more reintroduction of these 2 teams. Kalamazoo County, Canton, and Kelloggsville. Question about Canton. Geographically, they're from the east side of the state. Why are they sought out here by 2 teams that maybe don't know them that well?
Just play. So during the qualification rounds, there will be scouts in the stands that are tracking everything. They'll count how many coral pieces you score, where you scored them, and 862 is just one of the top scoring robots at this event. And they were picked by 2767, who's a big team we talked about. They've got world championships under their belt. So they're out there with those scouts counting, watching every match, and they know 862 is a good robot that can really score a lot of points. Looks like we are just about ready. So once again, in auto mode, we're watching the same thing. Can Red stay 6 of 6, like they did in the last match? And can Blue stay 7 of 7?
So precision early is going to be meaningful. And again, there is no margin of error for the Blue Alliance here. 2.5 minutes to a potential win.
They got a miss
in this West Michigan district.
862 missed their first one. We'd seen that before. Thought maybe the carpet was fixed, but does not look to be the case.
And the Blue Alliance sharp early.
All 4. So Blue goes 7 of 7.
Wow.
Red only goes 4 of 5. Blue with a bit of a lead, 12 points.
Momentum.
That's step number 1 that they had to do. Here's step number 2.
Oh, there's a mishandle on the algae. Again, a 4-point score for any piece of algae that goes into the net.
All right, they got that one clean.
Red Alliance cutting the gap.
We'll see. Techbike's really focusing on getting that algae. And again, I mean, like, if you have to take it out of the reef anyway, right, to open up scoring spaces,
you might as well make points.
High.
Yeah.
Yep. And so it looks like their plan is to go all algae first, whereas on the other side, 2767 is doing 1 algae and 1 coral back-to-back. And 862 kind of doing the same thing. We got 4 algae each.
Well, they told us their strategy, and then right now they're following through on it 100%. It is neck and neck, though, here. Plenty of time, though, but...
Yep, 72-48, doing a little bit of better job staying home, but they do have to get some of these box outs. They got to slow them down a little bit more on defense. Red has caught up and taken the lead, but the good news for Blue is they do still have some openings on their reef.
Yeah, there is room for more algae for the Blue Alliance here. And again, each algae piece in that net is 4 points.
Yep. Ooh, costly miss. 20-54 drops one.
Got to watch out for penalty points, too, in a match this close.
83-97 now heading to start their hang. I'd like to see the same thing for 72-48. They've got to start heading out now, and it looks like they are.
Both teams loading up on algae points. And with 20 seconds left, we're going to see a run for the barge zones to get some hanging points. Every point is going to matter.
Last second miss by 20-54 on an algae.
Oh, the Hopkins machine. We are down to it. And hanging points.
Who's going to get?
Blue needs all three off the ground. I don't know.
Yep.
I only see maybe one. Maybe one.
Yeah, I think
that
none for
one.
Blue. I think none for Blue,
Yeah.
2 for Red. And it was the same problem. Like I don't think it was a mistake that they missed their hangs here. Obviously, you wanted to send the one robot early, 72-48, and have them be up. They didn't get theirs. That hurts. But the other two robots, 20-54 and 56-75, looked at the scoreboard, saw they were behind, knew they needed to score a couple more times before going for the climb. And that's what they tried to do. Unfortunately, running out of time there at the end. So it looks like Red slightly ahead on the scoreboard and ahead in endgame.
And we don't,
presumably,
doesn't feel like Blue Alliance is going to have any last-second magic to flip that scoreboard. But we'll see.
We expect, though, almost 160 points from Blue. If they had just a little bit more time to make their 2 climbs, you know, that would have been like 180, which is a great score. But unfortunately, they ran up against an alliance that can put up a few more points than that. Just waiting for all the scores to be finalized, all the penalties to be added in.
And here it comes to the crowd. It is a Red Alliance win, and that is going to secure a victory here at the West Michigan District. 195 is your final tally for the Red Alliance. Not 222. I have to say, it feels like the Blue Alliance did a lot of what they wanted, but they couldn't do enough.
Yeah, we talked about like sort of
wanted.
like the 4-point plan for them to come back, and it looks like they got 2.5 or 3 of those.
Not quite enough. Downstairs, Kaylee Marintek.
Tyler is with me from the Red Alliance. Tyler, first of all, congratulations. Big win for you guys. I feel like I've been talking to you a lot throughout the day. You guys have been very successful. What do you think was your key to success through this entire day?
Yeah, I'd say consistency and then coral cycling, just trying to put up as many points as quick as we can.
What do you think is going to be your biggest takeaway from this weekend?
Yeah, that's a good one. Just try and take the success into states and worlds. Just try and continue how we're doing here in the future.
What would you want to tell the rest of your alliance after today?
Thank you. You guys we couldn't have done it without you. Very helpful. Lightning and Astrobots, thank you.
All right, congratulations, Tyler. Congratulations to the Red Alliance on their win. We're going to send it back upstairs.
All right, Kaylee, thank you. That was certainly a very dramatic way to end this great day of competition with that last match, 195-159. Barge points, couple of penalty points. That's pretty good.
I mean, this is what we talked about. They beat them in auto. Number 2 Alliance had the lead after auto mode. They matched them in algae. And unfortunately, the barge points is where they really lost this. And that's because they were just down a couple scores on the reef in coral. They knew they had to stay out, score a couple more times before they went to hang, and just ran out of time at the end.
Let's go downstairs and get some final thoughts from Kaylee.
Hey guys, I'm pretty impressed with all of the play today from the teams. A lot of them showed up to play defensively and offensively. Really impressed with Strike Force as well. Like I said, I was talking to Tyler a lot throughout the day. A lot of success from their team. Also have to shout out the Tactical Hands for stepping in last minute. State championship. I talked to Jackson. I could tell they were a little nervous. I mean, who wouldn't be coming up into the championship not expecting to play? I think both teams did a great job, though, and I'm ready for states.
Yeah, we'll be there very soon. Thanks so much to everybody. Great day of afternoon here at Grand Valley State's Fieldhouse Arena as the West Michigan District is now final. A great day of robotics, thrilling matches, clutch performances, and teamwork at its finest. Pushing the limits of innovation and strategy, one team stands above the rest. Congratulations to the Red Alliance, Lightning Robotics, Strike Force, and Astrobots. Your champions. That's who they are. They are the champions in Allendale here at GVSU. Thanks to all of our great sponsors and their incredible support, and to all the students and mentors and volunteers who made this event possible. We're back in the saddle on April 5th, live from Saginaw Valley State for the state finals competition. You won't want to miss it. For my partners, Dan Kimura and Kaylee Marentet, I'm Dan Gutowski as we say so long from Allendale, Michigan.
Passionate student leaders who demonstrate exemplary effectiveness at attaining FIRST's ideals. They were nominated by their teams for their direct contributions and impact on others, exemplifying leadership and commitment on the team and in their community. First Dean's List District Championship semifinalists recognized here today will move forward to compete at the District Championship. Today we would like to recognize the following student to come down. Julia F. from Team 862. That's Lightning. The Engineering Inspiration Award celebrates outstanding success in advancing respect and appreciation for engineering within a team's school, organization, or community. Inspiring others to respect science and technology requires passion, knowledge, and commitment, and we recognize these qualities through this award. Putting their heads together, this team relentlessly pursues perfection, achieving continuous improvement in recruiting, design, build, leadership, and execution. From exposing thousands of students to STEM at their local street fair to advocating to the state legislature to ensure all students have access to computer science classes, this team uses engineering prowess to build the next generation of thinkers. Built on Beach Boys, Twizzlers, and brains, that's 85 Bob! district finalists celebrates the alliance that makes it to the final match of the competition. First, recognizes the talent of these outstanding competitors. They were sensational, and we are proud to honor them. Please, our alliance captain, team number 5675, the Wired Cats. And their next finalists, their partners, 2054, the Tech Bugs from Hopkins. All right, the next team was 7210, the Robo Jackets. Along with them, their backup robot, it's 7248, the Tactical Hams. The District Event Winner Award. The West Michigan champions formed a powerful alliance who rose to the many challenges of Reefscape and proved to be an exciting, competitive combination. They can now proudly hang a winner's banner in their pit. Our alliance captain for the winners, it's 2767. Strike Force. Their alliance partners. Team 862 Lightning Robotics.
Great job.
You betcha. Last but certainly not least, we have Team 8397. All right, congratulations to the Astrobots. The First Impact Award is the most prestigious award at First. It honors the team that best represents a model for other teams to emulate and best embodies the purpose and goals of First. The First Impact Award is presented to the team judged to have the most significant, measurable impact of its partnerships among its participants and community over a sustained period, not just a single build season. The winner is able to demonstrate progress towards First's mission of transforming our culture. The recipient team will be invited to the district championship, where it will compete for the First Impact Award against other winners from other qualifying events and compete with a robot. This team doesn't just shake it off when challenges arise. They take them head on and turn them into chart-topping success. This team has been making First louder than a sold-out stadium tour, inspiring the next generation of engineers, builders, and problem solvers. From mentoring 42 FRC rookie teams in the last 3 years to striking the perfect chord with community and sponsors, they know how to build a sustainable future around First. Their outreach is in sync, reaching thousands through STEM demos, news features, and spreading the mission of First, but it doesn't stop there. Let's talk about reputation, because this team, Alumni, don't just move on, they stay involved, mentoring, cheering, and even helping build and share practice spaces and sponsorships. With 80% of this team's members being introduced through FTC and FLL, and a 100% STEM education rate for recent grads, they're proving they can stay on the charts all year long. So as we present this year's Impact Award, we know one thing for sure: this team is in its era of success and isn't slowing down anytime soon. Congratulations, 107 Team Robotics!
Did you guys grab our computer?
Team. Here we come. Congratulations. I just want to last minute thank Copes for setting up the field and tearing it down and giving us so many volunteers. All right, let's watch the Impact Award video up here.
It's time to turn it up and make First loud. We are Team 107 from Holland Christian High School, and we've been making First loud since our rookie year in 1997. So how does Team 107 keep making an impact year after year? We have the best concert promoters and our sponsors. They provide us with mentors, resources, and help keep us financially stable so we can keep doing the things we love. Speaking of things we love, we have a few initiatives on repeat when it comes to making First loud year after year, like running and mentoring 2 FTC teams. This keeps Team 107 sustainable with over 80% of current team members once part of the FTC teams. While working with FTC is fun, we've continued to take our show on the road to Impact events. Our Impact Band helps run the West Michigan District event and Robotics Invitational to show the community how fun FIRST is. All this means is we've gotten really good at setting up and taking down playing fields. We do more than just FTC and events. Each year we host a rookie build camp to get more teams involved with FIRST. Our community is also West Michigan, and we continue to hand out groceries to 150 families each season, stock the local food pantry, and decorate bags for kids' food basket. But that's not all we did. In 2024, we did more by hosting a food drive, volunteering at a local secondhand store, and no merchandise was damaged in our kart racing shenanigans. We even grew our STEM outreach by building robotic props for the middle school play, getting more involved with FLL and FTC, and having alumni volunteer at rookie mentor events. We even turned up promoting STEM in our hometown festival where we shine at making First loud. We practice our competition with other FIRST teams to build our parade float. The average attendance of this parade is over 13,000 people. But one community event isn't enough. We increased our efforts by supporting the local fire department's fundraising, attended company picnics, and presented to sponsors. Team 107 isn't just a robotics team. We're a family that truly supports each other, that bonds over game night, celebrates the wins over dinner, and even has girls' night in. Because of this tight-knit band structure, we continue to see success and a growing impact because we aren't just a one-hit wonder. At the end of the day, we couldn't do this without our mentors. Shout out to the ones who build up our skills, teach us along the way, the ones that carpool us, the ones that feed us, and the one we lost along the way. And we never stop making it loud.
Congratulations, Team 107. That is the end of our day, so drive safe. Thanks for coming.